Welcome to episode 287 of the Gaming Outsider programs. In the week's news, we run down both the PlayStation 5 technical specs as told to us by the wonderful tones of Mark Cerny, and GameStop finally confesses what we all knew. It's not essential retail. We also talk about the From the Outside In topic of the 5 games to play during the quarantine. You got 14 days. What are you going to play through? Then we talk about the games we've been playing at Doom Eternal, Bobble for Friends, and a few others along the way. The ultimate life form exists, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance. Find out more about that on The Gaming Outsider.
Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 287 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, March 23rd. I'm your host, Scott Clark. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-host. First off, a guy who's been practicing social distancing for over 2 decades, Mr. Zack Parkerson. How you doing, Zack?
Oh man. Yeah, I'm about to get to 3 decades of social distance, and I excel at it.
I know you do, and I was really tempted to say 3 decades, but I know you were just shy, so I didn't want to go that far.
Well, I appreciate you don't round up. Yeah. This quarantine, I keep looking at the rules, and I'm just like, sounds good.
Well,
we should have all been doing this.
Right? It's kind of like our lifestyle, so to speak. But the number of people that are just ignoring the social distancing rules is shocking to me. I mean,
yeah, they're not gonna listen until you roll out the tanks, man.
Pretty much. Also joining us, a guy who can't decide on a hand washing song, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, Chris?
What are you talking about, man? I totally have one.
You have one?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Basically,
hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on.
No, you shut your mouth. No, it's Party Hard by Andrew WK.
Of course, it's Andrew WK.
Hell yeah.
I don't. I just wash my hands thoroughly. I don't really have a song, so how has everybody been doing? I know that CB, you're still working. Your schedule's pretty much same as always. And Zack, I know you were off for a while, but you were back at work yesterday at least.
Yeah, it's been touch and go, but I guess Kansas City has decided that coffee is essential operation. So
funny how that works.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. You would think that food would be a prime way to get sick, but all right, that's fine.
Does your place serve food as well, or is it just coffee?
Yeah, we do mostly food, actually.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it's an interesting decision, but whatever. I get to make money.
There you go. CB, what about you?
Just constant life on the ambulance, man. But surprisingly, people aren't calling as much. So they're actually listening and deciding to stay home if it's not an emergency. It's amazing.
Wow.
I tell you, people aren't that smart in Kansas City. Let me tell you.
I believe it. Well, for me, it has been kind of crazy because, as you know, I'm not working. Last week was my spring break. This week was our first. Today actually was our first day that we've been forced to close by the state of Illinois, and we don't have really any e-school things set up, so our kids aren't set up for e-learning. But I've been monitoring my email and talking to some of my students through some online apps that we use in my classroom. And I've got to record a video of me reading a picture book to send to my boss. She's putting together like a compilation for all the kids in the school to have like each teacher reading a book to the kids. But outside of that, I am supposed to be, staying home. But a lot of the kids in our district rely on the district for breakfast and lunch. So they've actually put together all these meals and everything. And I actually went and volunteered today to help put some of those together and distribute them to the kids. And the only reason I bring it up is because it was very bizarre going into this middle school where, I've actually DJ'd before. And the cafeteria, which looks like a middle school cafeteria, just has pallets and pallets and pallets of food, oranges and nutrition bars and juice boxes and all this kind of stuff. I don't know how else to describe it other than it looked like a scene from Division 2. Like, those like bunkers, or what are those safe zones? Are they called safe zones in Division 2? I can't remember.
Yes, safe zones.
where you just see pallets of supplies stacked everywhere in places that you don't normally expect supplies to be. That's what it felt like. It was a very strangely ominous feeling walking in there and seeing that. I don't know. I don't know why it wigged me out, but it really did. So that was.
Remember when I started playing The Division 2 weeks ago?
Mhm.
And I was like, man, it's kind of trippy. I can only imagine how whacked out to be playing now.
Exactly. I mean, I watched Outbreak the other day for the first time since, I don't know, early 2000s or whatever. That was kind of crazy. Apparently, Contagion is another one I need to watch. It's
a good movie.
I've heard as much, but it's just kind of a crazy world we live in, and it drives me crazy because I don't know what to do. I don't. I try very hard not to say anything about how I feel, because if you act freaked out about it, somebody's going to come down on you and say you're panicking, you're reacting too much, you're blowing this out of proportion, and as soon as you make an aloof comment about it, then you got the other side that's just all up in your business, telling you that you should be worried more and telling you what to do. And I'm just a better safe than sorry kind of guy, so I'm gonna stay him as much as possible. But those kids need to eat too. So
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah,
you have to read a picture book.
Mhm.
What are you going to read?
I cannot remember the name of it. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a weird copyright thing, because in order to read a book and share it with your school, it has to be from a specific publisher that we have permission to do so. And I don't have any picture books in my house because I don't have any children. So I actually went to school yesterday to pick up some things, including a book. So I just had to randomly go through the library until I found one that looked mildly interesting that was by this publisher. It has something to do with a rooster that won't stop crowing or something like that. So
how friendly are you with this boss? Like, can they take a joke?
Sure. We've actually been going back and forth. We have a Facebook group just for the staff of my building, and we've been making some pretty funny jokes on there.
Okay, because I got the perfect picture book for you to read and send as a joke file.
Is it Go the Something to Sleep?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Because I do own a copy of that.
You think I should just like do it and send it to you, send it to her, and be like, "All right, Amber, here's my
yes."
Do my best Sam Jackson impression.
Because if she could take a joke, that would probably be one of the funniest things ever. Because she'd be like, "No, no." No,
but what would be really funny is if she doesn't actually watch the video and then just splices all this stuff together and then sends it out to the school district, which I can't imagine she would do that, but I would be so worried that that's what she'd be doing. So,
but can you just imagine like the school board sitting here like watching this video and all of a sudden, what? No.
I could just try to read the whole book with a completely straight face, and not crack up.
You should read that the book, that the Wonky Donkey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Are you being serious, or is this another inappropriate book?
No. That one's completely. But if you can get through that entire book without laughing, I will buy you lunch.
But
how old are your students again?
They are 4th graders, so it is 9 and 10-year-olds.
I think they can probably they can hear something a little more sophisticated than the Wonky Donkey.
No. Well, if you've never read this book before, this book is hilarious.
I think what I should do is I should just go buy a copy of Everybody Poops, and then just just read that to my class. I think that'd be pretty funny. So
I say you should get like Superman for all seasons or something. Well, comic books have pictures.
Red Sun.
You got to remember, it's not just for my.
That might be a little intense.
It's not just for my class. It's supposed to be for the whole school. So it's probably going to be geared more towards the K-2 age group. But because 4th graders, I read them. In class, I read them a chapter book. Every day we read a chapter and go through it. So, the Wonky Donkey is going to be a little below their level, but
I don't know. That's some pretty complex linguistics when you get towards the end of that book.
It's funny you say that, because I actually encourage my kids to read Calvin and Hobbes in my classroom a lot. I have a couple of those old comic books, and going through that, Calvin had a pretty extensive vocabulary for being a 1st or 2nd grader, whatever he was in that book. Have you ever actually sat and read Calvin and Hobbes?
Oh yeah, I have a couple of the books. It was that Far Side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved those as a kid.
Calvin and Hobbes.
It looked like one of those things that was going to try to make you feel better, so I didn't want to read it.
Go figure. Well, that is our life right now. We're kind of going one day at a time. I said it last week, but I'll say it again. Everybody, please be safe and follow the guidelines for washing your hands and try to keep your distance as best as possible. I know that a lot of people are unfortunately not able to work right now, and reach out to us. Let us know what we as a community can do to help each other out, because some of us, not everybody's getting paid for not working like I am. So I understand how much it sucks, and if I can help out anyway, please reach out to me. And speaking of reaching out, I got to give a shout out to one of our listeners. I assume he's a listener, and CB, you can probably back me up on this, but Jimmy Lee Evans on Twitter. I personally don't know that I've talked to this guy or engaged with him, but Jimmy, every single morning I get up, retweets or shouts out the Gaming Outsider on Twitter. He just says #GamingLife and gives us a shout out almost every single day. So Jimmy, I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate the love and support, and hope you are listening to the show and actually hear us give you the shout out, because we really appreciate it. Helps us get the word out there. And let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. A couple of big things happened this week. Everybody got super excited about the announcement of the PS5, crowded around their televisions or computers and monitors to watch Mark Cerny give some details about the specs for the PS5. And I don't know if you guys watched it live. I watched it with one eye because I had no idea what he was talking about. It was very much a technical discussion. To me, it felt like this was what was going to be presented at GDC to developers. And since GDC was canceled, they decided to air it live. And it was not for fans or for the layman like myself that does not understand technical aspects of hardware. So do any of you guys want to translate some of these features? Because I have no idea what they mean.
It does stuff.
It does, yeah. It seems to load things very quickly. They're very proud of that. They really want you to know that things load fast.
Yes.
Have you heard that it loads things quickly?
It does load things quickly. Very
That's
quickly.
All
Yeah.
they did say it was like 100 times quicker or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
In that, when you spin the camera, the textures load that much faster or whatever.
Right, like if you're in an open world environment or something, it's not just stuff popping in the background, it's actually all popping there at the same time.
Right, or they use the example of Spider-Man over and over again, that the subway animations that played when you fast travel wouldn't exist in PS5 because it's just loading too quick. So if they wanted to do something like that, they would actually have to slow down the loading.
Could you imagine living in a world where you got to slow down so you can actually see those subway? Because nobody likes loading screens, right? But I kind of enjoyed the ones in Spider-Man.
Those ones stood out. People talked about those.
Yeah, it's kind of fun seeing the people just interacting with Spider-Man on the subway, like looking at his phone or whatever. That was great. Do we figure out what a teraflop was? Because I still feel completely ignorant as to what a teraflop is.
Floating logic operation points a second.
Oh, okay.
Floppy.
Didn't even need to look it up.
So did you appreciate Mark Cerny's shot at the Xbox they took in this thing?
I must have missed it because, like I said, I was listening with one ear while I was working on something else. I was just kind of waiting for a price drop or a picture or anything, and nothing happened.
He was talking about teraflops, and then going into it because they have less teraflops obviously than the Xbox One Series X. Mm-hmm. But he made this thing of this is what a teraflop does, and that's why it's really dangerous to talk about power in terms of just raw teraflops.
Gotcha.
I felt like a pretty straight shot to me.
Well, I mean, somebody posted the specs side by side, and in every category, it just seemed to me that the PS5 was just a little less. And I mean, here's my biggest takeaway from this, and I posted about it on Facebook. But at the end of the day, can I play games, and can I play games well? That's all I care about.
Right. Well, and again, I don't feel like this talk was for us. This is for the people that are going to be making the games for this console or are already making the games for this console. They understand how this stuff works, and they understand how it's going to affect their development. I mean, I do appreciate what Mark Cerny said about how it's going to make it easier for developers to make things quickly and Whatever makes it easier for developers to create quality products for us makes me very excited. So I'm on board and I like that. But that seemed like a very forward message in this whole thing was, guys, we are in this for the developers. We want to make this as easy as possible for you guys so that you can actually, push this hardware to its limits with everything. And I really appreciated that. But you're right, CB. And again, the fanboys on both sides came out as soon as those side-by-side comparisons came out. And that drives me crazy because we're arguing over something that we don't know that much about. These numbers did the numbers look better on Xbox One? Yes. But the numbers looked very close between PS4 and Xbox One all through the cycle. PlayStation 4 well outsold Xbox One last generation, at least in the United States. So who cares? Right. Where are the games? What's the release date? How much is this going to cost? And what does it look like? I think that's what everybody wanted to see when they watched this presentation, and we didn't get any of that. So now's not the time.
I think whoever goes first is going to win a lot of favor.
That's true.
I think gamers are more fickle than they're loyal than they think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you go PS2 to then Xbox 360 and then PS4 in terms of success, and in each of those instances, the console that came out first won.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say plain and simple. I'm excited for both machines, but at this point in time, we know what the Xbox looks like. We know what its specs are. We have a potential release date, which was spoiled supposedly, of Thanksgiving 2020.
Well, it was funny because they put that out there, and then immediately Major Nelson hopped on Twitter and said that was a mistake, that was out there for some weird reason. And they're still confirming that it is holiday 2020, which, of course, the internet jumped on and said, well, Thanksgiving is a holiday. You're right, but holiday traditionally means the Christmas season.
Well, I mean, anymore, Christmas season starts July 5th.
Yeah, that's
true. I
don't
know, this year it might actually start in December.
So
that's a good point.
But at the same time, even if it is Thanksgiving 2020, that's still well within the realm of the launch window of the holiday season.
I agree. It's just such a weird thing to happen. Like, how does that accidentally get out there? Like, it was posted on their website.
Yeah. My biggest thing is, the only thing about the Xbox is we don't have a concrete price.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's speculative price, but we still don't know what the PS5 looks like officially. We don't have a price, and we don't have a concrete launch window other than holiday 2020. We've kind of narrowed down that more than likely it sounds like the Xbox is going to come sometime at the end of November, is my guess.
Well, and that's assuming all starts pushing in the right direction with the pandemic as well. Because we don't know, I feel like we don't know what's going to happen with that in general, and how that's going to affect the video game industry in the long run. I could very easily see all of this pushing back production into 2021 for both consoles.
Well, the scary thing is some of the YouTubers that I follow, a couple of them actually have Xbox Series X's in hand and they're playing on them already.
Right. I mean, that's going to be technically a prototype, probably. And that's, even if they've got that does not mean that there are millions and millions of consoles sitting in a warehouse somewhere ready for distribution.
Oh,
those things still got to get made.
But at the same time, we have prototypes in people's hands being played where we don't with Sony.
Or do we? Because they love NDAs. So they could be out there. They probably are out there.
So, man, I'm just excited because the Intellivision Amico is coming.
It's funny you mentioned that because we got the new trailer for that. Did you watch the trailer for it, Zach?
No.
How dare you?
Wait, yes I did. Yeah. You sent it to me.
Yeah, I thought I did.
Yeah, okay, never mind, I did. I guess I forgot. So it made a huge impact.
It is kind of sad that I'm more excited right now for the Amico than I am either the Xbox One or Xbox Series X or the PS5, purely because I just don't know what it is. The Amico looks like a lot of fun. I'm still skeptical about how successful it's going to be because they just don't have the Nintendo name behind it, like Nintendo did with the Wii. But this looks like a family-friendly console with games that just arcadey style games. It looks like really good versions of the olden television games.
Well, that's what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Tallarico wanted to do, was take all the television games from his childhood and just be like, hey, I'm going to make brand new versions with my team and put it on this console. And they're all like $10 or less.
Right.
So, I mean...
and there's a new Earthworm Jim game, right?
Correct.
Yep, brand new Earthworm Jim game, and I believe there's a new Echo the Dolphin coming.
Yes, I actually saw a screenshot of it.
Yeah. Like,
that's cool. That's cool as hell, man.
Yeah. Ed Annunziata, the guy who made the original, was actually talking on his Twitter at one point in time about it. So.
Wow. I love Echo.
Yeah, so did I. So, like, that and Earthworm Jim were actually my primary reasons behind getting behind this thing. Like, I was day one, like, founders, like, buy. Yes, I'm buying this.
I may have gotten a Founders Edition as well.
That wood grain and gold, man.
It's got the wood grain, and there's only, what, like 5,000 of them made or something?
2,600.
Well, I see what they did there. 2,600 of them made, and you and I have 2 of them. That's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And
the Gaming Outsider's got a quantifiable percentage of them.
And not only that, but we get them before the retail version ships, and you get a $50 gold laminated gift card to buy games with it.
Which is
how much was the Founders Edition?
We don't know yet, because all we were able to do was put $100 down. They didn't give us the full price.
I think they said it was going to be about the same price as retail. So my guess is it'll probably be like, I think they said they wanted to make it between $199 and $250. So
we'll see what that is, but yeah, I'm telling you, those games look fun. I know some of them still have that pixelated look to them. Like when I think of television games, I think of the runner, like the football player runner, where the legs are, the one leg is angled, and I don't know. And they've got like a skiing game that has that, but they've made it look prettier. I don't know. There's like a Missile Command game that looks fun. This just looks like a party game. Like it looks like a party console. And then it's going to have some other things like Earthworm Jim and Echo the Dolphin, like you said. I'm genuinely excited for it. I'm really hopeful that it takes off. If nothing else, just the passion from Tommy Tallarico, just how much he believes in this thing and how excited he is about it when you see him talk about it. I think that's pretty cool. So, but here's to hoping we get more info about the other 2 consoles, because I saw today actually that there's an official PS5 website now. Like it's officially launched. You can actually, there's nothing on it, but there is one that's launched, which people are speculating that means we're going to get the announcement very soon. And like Zack said, whoever strikes first could be the winner. We'll have to wait and see what that is.
Like I said, I'm just still disappointed that you have a reveal with no image of your console.
Well, to be fair, they said from the get-go, even the day before, that it wasn't going to be, that it was just going to be specs. They were going to talk about hardware and what was inside it, and that was it. He even started the presentation by saying, look, we know you're excited to see games. We're not going to be showing gameplay or anything today. This is going to be purely a hardware discussion, and that's it. And that's what he did.
It feels a little like putting the cart before the horse, though. You're talking all this spec stuff, and we don't have a face to go with the name. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you're right. I understand that, but again, I don't feel like this conversation was supposed to be seen by us. It was supposed to be seen behind closed doors at a huge development conference in San Francisco. And since that got canceled, their only other option was to stream it. And as soon as you put something like that available for all these developers to look at, the media's going to get a hold of it, and then we all see it at the same time.
But GDC does put their talks up on YouTube.
Yeah, but how many of us watch those spec things for like the PS4? And did you?
I say I do. Yeah,
I normally do.
Okay,
that's why I wanted to go to GDC.
I'm subscribed to GDC YouTube.
Well, we're also weird anomalies that
you're right,
that study this stuff like a hawk. So
can I say?
I wasn't disappointed with this talk, mostly because Mark Cerny just talks real well. I like listening to him. But other than his botched wording of the backwards compatibility stuff, but it's just a weird way to unveil your console by putting up that weird 20-second clip of how fast Spider-Man loaded a few months ago, and now this. It's really strange, especially when your competitors out there talking openly about everything that's going on with the Series X.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, the cycle repeats.
And no offense to Mark
It's true.
Cerny, but Sony in the future, please don't put him out in front of people. I mean, that put my kid to sleep.
He was triggering my ASMR, man, in a good way. I was like, I could listen to this guy talk a lot.
I was
more.
gonna say, I found him soothing as well. Like he could read me the phone book, and I'd be okay with that. But
that's the problem. Is it's so soothing. It's just like I want to be excited.
Yeah, it was a little peaceful. He's like, and then if you look at the 3D audio of Dead Space, and I'm like, yeah.
Somebody made the
Dead
comment
Space.
on Discord that he looked like Dana Carvey doing a Mr. Rogers impression, and I thought that was hilarious because that was kind of spot on. Mr. Rogers or Bob Ross. Like, it was very, very soothing.
Here's a happy little teraflop.
What is a teraflop? Tell me, Mark.
Also, Mark Cerny, by the way, if you're not familiar, is responsible for Marble Madness. He created Marble Madness by himself at the age of 19 or 17 or 19 years old. So the dude knows what he's talking about, and he seems like an incredibly intelligent guy. So
yeah, he greenlit Spyro and Crash.
Nice.
So he knows how to make good calls as well.
Agreed. Well, let's go into some other news. It's really hard to talk about news without discussing GameStop because, boy, they were in hot water this week.
Because they know how to make fools of themselves.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they finally shut their doors after some controversy took place this week. As you guys know, a lot of the states are under lockdowns or they're closing non-essential businesses, ones that they don't consider to be essential. And GameStop straight up refused to close, calling themselves essential. And now listen, I love video games, guys. Totally love video games. But to me, when you've got something like this going on, whether or not you believe that this is serious or we're overblowing it, I'm sorry, but video games are not an essential business in a crisis situation. Would you agree?
Wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here's where the story got interesting, though. There's this YouTuber that Jeff Swan turned me on to by the name of Camelot331, who I had never heard of before, but apparently he's quite popular. And he did a video where he somehow, and I really want to know how he did this, he was able to sneak onto a conference call with GameStop. Did either of you watch that video by chance?
Yes, I did.
So did I.
I watched brief snippets.
It was fascinating. It was very scathing because these corporate executives obviously did not know that they were being recorded by a YouTuber who was going to put this out there on the internet. But it was pretty messed up. They basically said, no, we're not going to be closing down stores, and you still need to take in trade-ins, regardless of if they're gross and filthy. And if you're not going to work, you're not going to get paid. And boy, did the internet blow up with this whole thing. It was kind of crazy. And then after a couple days, they finally decided to close all the stores. Like you can, they're still open, but you can't go into the store. They're doing like curbside pickup or selling things digitally and so on, just like the restaurants are for places like that, which is interesting.
I think it depends on the store too, because I know the one over near my house is just closed.
Oh, like just closed altogether.
I drove by it earlier and it was shuttered.
Oh, really?
So,
for what it's worth, devil's advocate, when I went to my GameStop to pick up Doom Eternal, they were actually pretty happy they were still open because they still had jobs.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's worth.
But there are some people that are genuinely concerned. I mean, whether or not we're hyping this up and we're feeding into the panic, I think people have a right to be concerned. And I think that when we sit and point fingers and say, oh, they just don't want to go to work is not fair. There are some people out there that are better safe than sorry and would rather not take the chance. And I respect that. I respect people being or having the opinion that could we be blowing this out of the proportion? I respect that as well too. I don't know where I land. I don't know what to think, but I still don't like how GameStop handled this. Just the conversation, which obviously wasn't meant for the public, seemed kind of creepy.
From what I watched in my snippets, they seem pretty accurate to my experience working at GameStop. And they would tell you to sell through people's pre-orders of Grand Theft Auto. Well, they weren't there on.
I get you. Like, and the whole forcing this stuff on people. I get it. Personally, I have not had a bad experience at a GameStop with staff. I was actually talking to Aaron Peterson about this past week, and he had an incredible experience where they did something that they probably didn't have to, and they did just because he was a regular customer. They knew him, and they helped him out. I've never had like a bad exchange with a GameStop employee. I don't feel like the employees are any part of the problem. They're doing what they're supposed to do. You can tell they love games, and for the most part, the ones I talk to seem knowledgeable about what's going on. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, right?
They don't want to ask you about the warranties and the pre-orders and all that crap that they have to do, but GameStop has microphones on their cameras, and they listen to you, and if you do not say those things, you get ridden up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've been there. I used to work at Blockbuster. We had to push the movie pass with every single person. I get it.
I definitely feel that it's a problem that they have with policies that are placed there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually talked to the guys and girls over at the GameStop near my house a lot. And because GameStop takes in retro games now,
mm-hmm.
they hate the fact that they don't get to display them in their store. They just automatically have to box them up and ship them to the warehouse. Because they know that there's people like me that would come in and gladly buy these things.
Why do they have a problem with that?
Because you're taking stuff that potentially could be making your store money and sending it to
No. I'm saying why would corporate have a problem with you turning around and selling it to a customer in the store?
Because every GameStop needs to look alike. Be corporate, Scott.
Oh, is that what it is? It's got to be uniform?
Yes.
Oh, and they can't guarantee the same retro stack.
Yes. Also that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what do you guys think about the whole thing in terms of a lot of people on the internet are just putting a nail in the coffin for GameStop at this point? Like, oh, you need to go cash in your credit as soon as possible because GameStop's not going to be open by next week. I think that's a little extreme, but do you think this is the official beginning of the end, or is there still a place for GameStop in the marketplace?
With a company that currently holds 60% of the retro game market, they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't their stock, wasn't it like under $1 at one point last year?
Yeah. Like
that's not good.
We've watched them fall for them to immediately come back. Like, here's the thing. With a lot of the stores closing, a lot of the stuff moving to online retail, I have a feeling they're going to weather the storm farther than Best Buy will.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Not really.
If they reduce the number of their stores and went a little bit more niche, they could have a pretty successful business on their hands.
Which, I mean, they're trying to do with the fact that they've been refitting a lot of them for, like, you hear the Target market stores where they're like, oh, we want to make it so it's more of a play experience when you come in. So, I mean, they're trying things.
I've been saying that for years.
Well, you guys remember how much we loved Funko Land back in the day?
Loved it.
Before they came GameStop? That was where you could like take any game off the shelf and go play it before you bought it. I mean, I know that's a bit of an extreme, but why can't we do that?
Yeah. All the cases are open that are on the shelf.
Right.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess you gotta wait for it to install and stuff nowadays, but
right. But I mean, you just get a big old hard drive. You have a bunch of them installed.
Wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
That's what
compelling argument. If they want to survive, they got to be the nerd hangout. I've been saying that.
What else needs to happen to be the nerd hangout? Like, are they going to start like paying for hours to come hang out at this place, or is it going to be like we talked about open world gaming here in town, which is a business that unfortunately has been forced to close as well, where you pay for an hour of time to go use their LAN site to play games with your buddies or just play on site and hang out. Are they going to have to go that route?
Well, or you could do it more like a Magic the Gathering or board game store, where you got an area off to the side here where you can go and play games. You know, hey, we have the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo booted up here or whatever. They like offer to a room in the side. You can just kind of hang out and talk. But maybe they do have a board game here or there, and you just make it appealing to nerds. You stop accosting everybody when they walk in the door. That'll go a long way.
I agree.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in the door. Would you like to sign up for our premium service?
It's the same, man. It feels like you're being interrogated. Like that's the majority of the reason I don't want to go to GameStop, because I know I have to say no 14 times before I can get to the wall to look at the game.
Huh.
Honestly, if GameStop really wanted to thrive in the market, I actually think they should close the majority of their stores, but find bigger locations and turn them into esports centers.
Yeah, like make it like a Best Buy size location.
Not even that big.
That's gargantua.
I mean, as long as you had like 15 spots per store, I feel that would be a legitimate run.
Yeah, but think you could put everything into if you had a Best Buy size GameStop. You have the places to play board games. You have the places to play LAN stuff. You have places to sell retro games. You have an arcade. I mean, you could just do everything all in one place. It could be that big, and they've got the name built in. They've got the people that recognize the brand already. Compound on it, make it a service and sales thing, and stop with the interrogations like Zack is talking about. I think it could be awesome. And I think that's what we all want, really.
Well, it would take some tightening of the belt to pull that off, which looking at their company's track record, I don't think they want to do.
Yeah, but they didn't have Reggie before. Now they do.
I definitely think that's actually probably one of the best moves they could have made.
Mm-hmm.
So
just for sheer goodwill alone, because people love Reggie.
He couldn't have come on at a worse time,
right?
My guess is they're like, we're not gonna close the stores, and Reggie's like, all right, guys, here's the deal. Shut up, and this is what we're doing.
I want to be in that meeting so badly. I
want
to see Reggie angry.
I don't care where.
It'd be funny.
It would be funny. All right, CB, what's going on with Patreon, man?
We're still kind of in a little bit of a lull thanks to social distancing.
Yes.
So, currently though, we have our VR episode with Spencer and the Break the Seal Dead Space episode with Scott. I promise you we're working on some stuff. We're just kind of all quarantined from one another.
It is difficult to get some recordings done right now. We are doing our best, but everything has to be done remotely. We can't get together to play games, obviously. And a lot of these older games can't be played online, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So we do appreciate your patience.
Yes, so bear with us. We love you.
And if you would like to help support The Gaming Outsider, the link is patreon.com/thegocast. We do appreciate it. Oh, and we did a giveaway this past week. We gave away a copy of Doom Eternal, which we're going to be talking about later in the show. And that went out to Oscar Decker, who is a longtime listener, and he was very, very appreciative. He should have actually got that copy today, but obviously things are kind of up in the air right now. So congratulations to Oscar. Really appreciate you helping out the show and just listening. We'd really appreciate it. We are going to now jump to our From the Outside In topic. So this week's topic is pretty simple. With the pandemic scare around the whole world, a lot of people are stuck inside for the foreseeable future. I am one of those people. So we wanted to know, if you were trapped inside for 2 full weeks and could only pick up 5 games to last you through the quarantine, what 5 games would you pick and why? So again, you cannot play your entire library. For whatever technical reason, you can only have 5 games. What 5 games are you taking? We're basically doing the deserted island scenario, but we're tying it to the pandemic. CB?
It's not strictly the desert island thing, because in that case you want to go with something long. You said originally it was 14 days was the quarantine,
right?
When you pitched it.
That's true, because deserted island you're there for an indefinite amount of time,
right?
But here we're looking
this
at
one.
2
I know
weeks.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I want to get through something, come back on the other side, be like, oh man, I finally played, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it with spoilers, obviously, but
right. And I feel like I'll get to my list in a second, but when I chose mine from a not any point in time. I took it as right now. Like if right now I had to choose which 5 games I got because of the, we're in this pandemic right now, what 5 games would I pick right now? Those choices would be different if it were the deserted island situation like we talked about.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, CB, let's start with you. What 5 games are you taking with you?
Well, first off, I need to clarify one thing.
Okay.
Do I or do I not have access to the internet?
You do have access to the internet.
Perfect.
Because I think online is a big part of that.
Okay.
For now, until they throttle our internet connections nationwide.
Okay.
Right.
Well, first is two games that I currently play just because I love playing them, so I have to keep them with me. Fallout 76, just because I love that game.
Really?
Still play it, man.
Still play it?
Yep, still play it. And Elite Dangerous,
Oh, wow. Okay.
just because if you ever hit that moment, you're like, I just need to waste some time. Perfect game for it.
Isn't there like a ton of content in that too? Like there's just so much to do.
Good luck ever visiting every planet. Somebody actually did the math. It would take all of the current humans on Earth something like 26,000 years to visit every planet for 5 minutes in this game.
Holy cow. So this is like No Man's Sky level of
Bigger.
absurdity. Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually bigger. I would take those.
Wow.
As far as other games, Ghost Giant, which is a VR
What?
game I've been wanting to get around to playing.
Oh, okay.
Metro Exodus is a game that I would pick because I've only ever played 5 minutes of it, and then I got distracted and I never went back to it.
All right.
And the last one, also I need a clarification. Are there other people in my home with me?
There's your the family you're quarantined with.
Yes.
Okay, well then scratch that one off the list. I was going to say keep talking and no one explodes, but
Oh, man. Yeah, you don't want to play that with your spouse.
no, definitely not, because I would probably yell at her. I would
Well, sure,
probably
hear ya.
say any VR game I have not yet played.
Oh, come on. You can't, I'm not going to let you
That's
get away with
yeah.
that.
Thank
Wow.
You know
what?
Scott's the most lenient teacher in the world, and even that he couldn't
Skyrim
happen.
VR.
Oh, look at that. You
There you
killed
go.
2 birds with one stone, a VR game and one that will take you 9,000 hours to finish.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we won't have to. The quarantine be over for 3 weeks before you realize that you're still in the world of Tamriel.
So
All right. Not a bad list. Zach, what about you?
CB, are you and the 12 other people playing Fallout 76 like really close then?
hey, our producer still plays Fallout 76.
Well, see, and you guys are pretty close.
Yeah. No, it's actually still pretty populated, man. So
Oh, I believe it.
I don't believe you.
The people that like it really, really like it.
Wastelanders are
They
coming.
do
Wastelanders are coming.
8 NPCs, right?
So
That's exciting. It's nice of them to add characters to that game.
I just want Fallout 5.
Me too.
Please.
I should really play Fallout 4 one day. However, that's not on my list. What is on my list is Shenmue 3.
Okay, you haven't played that yet, still have you?
I still haven't. Yeah,
All the
sitting there.
bad voice acting you could ever want.
I want the bad voice acting. I would be disappointed if the voice acting was good. I would be upset.
All right.
They're going to do a little Scott Clark, and Children of Morta is on here.
Hey, that's on my list too.
Well, I'm surprised. Because I played, 30, 60 minutes of it, and it was good. But, so what a great excuse to go back to it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because I don't want to imagine a scenario where I can't play that game. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection.
See, that's
'Cause I've
cheating.
been-
Cheating.
That was a point, man. It's at one box. All right, fine. I'll take it back. Well, then, okay. Titanfall 2, then. How about that?
Okay.
That's a good one.
Thanks for not allowing me. The whole point of that choice was to cheat, man.
Well, yeah, because then I could just, I could just do all of that. I could do,
Capcom
Orange box and
Capcom Classics 1.
yeah, right?
I mean, the 3 Uncharted games are shorter than any modern game anyway, combined.
That's true.
Anyway, Titanfall 2 because it's an endlessly fun multiplayer game. And
the
then,
campaign's solid.
Yeah, the campaign's remarkable, you could say. And Legends of Heroes Trails in the Sky, which is a PSP RPG I am constantly trying to start. I know I would love it. It's like a super lengthy JRPG, but the game has no dialogue or has no voice acting, so it's all reading, and it apparently has as much text as the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, so it's kind of hard to get into. But I hear once you get going, it gets going. And I've had that downloaded for years, and I really want to play it because it's a part of a franchise that does a trilogy in one part of the world and then a trilogy in another part of the world. So you see this world war happening from all sides. So you'll play in one game, and a certain faction will be the villain, and then you'll play the next trilogy where they're the heroes. And the country you just got to know are you view them as the bad guys. And that sounds super cool. That's just a lot of reading.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But I got time to read right now, so bring it on.
Well, as for me, I kind of wanted to go more on a more eclectic route with my selections, because I wanted a game that's going to just suck up a lot of hours, but I also know that I only have 2 weeks, so I need some other things that aren't going to be quite as long. And I wanted something from, not a backlog, I wanted something to replay that I love from the past. I wanted something that's score-based. I wanted something that is just I can just chill out to. So I just want to kind of go all around the full gamut, as it were.
You picked Journey 5 times.
Did not pick Journey, but since I have been playing quite a bit of it lately, I picked Skyrim because there's just so much to do in that game. I feel like I'll never complete that game. I do love it though, and I actually haven't played it in about 2 weeks, and I'm worried I'm going to get rusty already. So I need to get back in and play that some more. So Skyrim is an easy answer. And BioShock Infinite. I know Zach was not a fan of the way that game ended. However,
Again, Scott, I like the ending. It's the game I didn't like.
Oh, I misremembered it. You didn't like the villain.
Yeah, I do not like the villain. Okay. That's true. I think the villain is poorly written.
Well, the reason I picked this one, though, is Christina from our team actually just finished it yesterday. I think she played through the entire game in one sitting. Either that or it was over 2 days. Because she couldn't put it down, and we were talking about it on Discord, and I just forgot, or I can't say I forgot, but I haven't thought of that game or played that game in so long. I just really had this urge to go back and experience it again. So that's my back to the well of a game that I love that I wanted to revisit. And my third choice, no surprise, Pinball FX3. It's one game. There's over 60 tables in it, so I'm well covered there as far as time. And then things get a little weird. I'm going back to the well with a game called Tetris Attack, because every once in a while you want something to chill out to just a little bit, and Tetris Attack is one of my favorite puzzle games of all time. The music is great, it's simple, and it also has a multiplayer component, so if you got somebody on the couch with you, you can have some fun that way. And
is that on SNES?
It is. It's a Super Nintendo game.
Okay.
It's one that I really wish they would have brought to Switch with the Nintendo Online service, because that is a severely underrated puzzle game that I wish more people would give a shot. And then my last one, Children of Morta, which you already mentioned, because that game is immensely replayable. But since you mentioned it already, I'll swap it out for Rogue Legacy, because equally.
I'm not. Replayable. I won't allow you.
You won't allow me?
No, you have to. Yeah, stick with your Children of Morta. Then you could talk to me about it.
Well, then we could play. It actually has online functionality, so we could play it together.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we should.
It also seems like every podcast in the world seems to be putting out an unnecessary amount of episodes that are pretty obviously filler. What a great way to get through them by playing Children of Morta.
True.
You know what surprises me? We're all stuck at home and we still aren't playing Borderlands 3.
Well, Zach's copy is still sitting right here on top of my speaker. I had fully.
Who knows if the post office will be running?
I know, right? Well, I had fully intended to bring it down to you when I was going to come to Kansas City last weekend, and that didn't happen because of everything. So, I should just drop it in the mail for you.
I don't know if we can trust the mail right now.
No,
I think we can. We can.
It's a $20 gamble. I think it's worth it. So those were what we put on our lists, and we asked you, the community, for some answers as well. And boy, did we get a lot of response on this. So rather than
this is a popular topic, man.
It really was. So rather than picking and choose which ones, we're gonna just read through them. We're gonna go through them, and we'll try to move through them quickly because there is quite a few. But we'll add some comments as we go. We're gonna just go around the table.
If Scott, you try to cut me off on commenting, I'm gonna hurt you.
I will do my best to not cut you off.
Oh,
I will do my best.
I'm gonna critique some of these. So
Yes. Yeah, hey, I'm glad everyone's playing the games that make them happy.
yes,
There's some interesting choices.
I'm happy for your choices. I just question some of them. So
I ain't saying I agree with it, but I understand.
I understand.
thank you, Dave.
All right, CB, let's start with you.
So we have Josh Steima. Simple reasoning for the following games is their replayability, and then in parentheses, for me. Madden 06 on the PlayStation 2. Why?
14 years old.
GTA
That's
5 on
interesting.
Xbox. Xbox One. Understandable. Rock Band 3 on PS3. Hope you like to play alone. Pokemon Red
Maybe.
on Game Boy Pocket.
He's got family, man.
Oh, true. And Resident Evil 4 on Wii. Also, an unfortunate choice for Resident Evil games.
Wait, Resident Evil, that's the best. That's the definitive version of the best Resident Evil.
I was going to say that is
All lies.
No, that is the best version of Resident Evil 4.
It's the best version of Resident Evil 4, but it's not the best Resident Evil game.
No. We were
the best version of the best Resident Evil.
Oh, Jesus.
We will fight all day.
Wait, what's the best?
Resident Evil 2.
2.
The remake or the OG?
Well, I think the remake is a far superior game, but the second game is better. The original is better than Resident Evil 4.
Hey, you know what? It ain't no Code Veronica X.
I didn't realize. Well, that game's good too. I didn't realize you guys had this. I mean, you like Resident Evil 4, right? Am I crazy?
Well, I do like it, and I loved it at the time. But going back and trying to play that game now, it plays rough.
Yes.
I am really hoping that we get the Resident Evil remake treatment for Resident Evil 4. Because, man, that game controls like butt.
I feel like if you updated the controls, you could almost just do a shot-for-shot remake of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I agree. But the controls were so poor in that game to me that it was not worth it. Just fix it.
After 2 and 3, we need 0, 1, 4, and Code Veronica to be remade.
So the problem is if you do that, though, then we don't need 5 and 6, right?
No.
Nobody wants those games remade. But 4 is the first in the second trilogy. So are they going to feel compelled to do the other two as well? Or can they stop at 4?
You don't need a second trilogy because you have 1, 2, and 3, and then you have 0, Code Veronica X, and 4. Forget the rest.
Okay.
Or you just do 4. I'll move on.
Yeah, but people like me that didn't play Code Veronica X or 0 would really like to experience those stories.
I feel like 0 is almost in the Resident Evil 6 camp of let's put this to the side.
It's of the latter, but Code Veronica X is definitely worth a play.
I think that game's great. Yeah.
So
Zero is solid. I don't mean to disparage it completely. It doesn't feel like a game that needs a remake. It's not that important.
Okay.
All right,
Zach, what you got?
All right. Kyle Boggs says, easy. I've got plenty to entertain myself with here. Uncharted 2, 3, 4, Skyrim, and Civilization 6. See, Kyle should have just said the Nathan Drake collection.
No,
he also spots.
See, he understands how the rules work and understands that is 3 games, and not. Well, actually, 2, 3, and 4 weren't on the collection. It was just 1, 2, and 3 in the collection.
Right.
He wasn't gonna.
If Kyle, swap out 4 with Lost Legacy, and you got yourself a hell of a list here.
Yeah, I like the first Uncharted.
I said 4. Well, he didn't say Uncharted 1. It's not on here.
I know. Well,
I think the first Uncharted is good.
Man, I love that game. I'm curious what that game looks like now, because it looked amazing on the PS3 back in the day, but that's an old game now.
You know what holds up shockingly well is the Vita one, Golden Abyss.
I've not played that one. Is that the one where you can climb by using the back touchpad or something?
Yeah, you can if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. But it's just it holds up. It's cool, and you can reload by just tapping the screen, which I think is really nice.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Robbie Wheat says Elder Scrolls Online. That's all I would need. He doesn't even want 5 games, just wants that one game because, Elder Scrolls Online is endless entertainment. So
it is a time sink. So
I've heard.
Chad Fergile says
Fergile. Must be Italian.
Yeah, probably.
Come on,
music.
Yes, I know, it's a Christmas story. Rocket League and Borderlands 3, which is on sale for $30 on Steam for sure. I just started a new playthrough of Dragon Age 2, so I'll probably finish that. My plan is to figure out the rest from there. Rocket League and Borderlands 3, all 4. Dragon Age 2, I actually never played it, so...
Dragon Age 2 is so good, man.
Well, I cannot comment on the fact.
I tried. I tried so hard, man.
It's one city over the course of 10 years, like one location. That's super cool, super neat. They shouldn't have put the 2 on there. They hadn't put the 2 on there, the world would look at Dragon Age 2 differently.
So it should have just been Dragon Age, the city.
Yeah, Dragon Age, the city of Kirkwall.
There
Dragon
you go.
Age-ier.
Dragon Age-ier. I like that. I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
So, all right, what you got, Scott? Hey, Zach.
Sean Coates says, Dreams! Ha! Found a loophole. Create and play an infinite number of games I want. But I also choose some other open-ended type games like City Skylines and Minecraft, and maybe some vast open-world games like Witcher 3 and Far Cry 5. Assuming, of course, that this is a what-if scenario that would be forever. I hope not, Sean. I hope the world recovers.
Yeah.
I hope not as well. I'm actually surprised that none of us picked like Mario Maker, because that would have been another endless supply of games that we could have gotten away with.
I took the 14 weeks during our current crisis to heart.
Yeah, so did I.
When you proposed it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot create things to save my life.
Me either, but I can play everybody else's creations.
True story.
And if everybody's stuck at home, they're making all kinds of creations.
So, Sean, I give you props. Far Cry 5, it's a good game.
It is a good game. I really like. I still think 3 is my favorite, but 4 and 5 are both really, really solid.
That seems so much like a game that's not for me. It's not even funny.
True story. It is not you.
Yeah, but you also thought Days Gone wasn't going to be a game for you either.
There's got to be there's an exception to every rule, of course.
Mm-hmm. I think that 5 would strike a chord with you more than the other 2 because of the religious undertones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. And actually, you would like the ending of that game.
Actually, I was going to say, come to think of it, Joseph Seed just falls right into the vein of bad guys that Zack would love.
I kind of want you to play that just to see your reaction to the way that game ends. I don't know if it's been spoiled for you or not, has it?
Yes, it was. That's an awesome way to end a game.
It was awesome.
I don't know. You guys are kind of selling me a little bit. Is it on Game Pass or anything?
I will
have to look into this.
I will loan you my copy.
Wow, you believe in Far Cry 5 strongly.
Yes, I actually think it's one of the best written storylines for a villain in a while.
Wow. There's no creepier last name for a villain than Seed.
For multiple reasons. Yeah.
Yes.
It is gross. All right, Jeff Swan says Breath of the Wild, Metroid Prime, and then he says in parentheses, trilogy if you'll allow it. We will not.
He won't. He will not, Jeff. He will not allow that at all.
Nope. Let's see. Seiken Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana, Resident Evil 4, and Sunset Overdrive. I believe this is the only mention of Sunset Overdrive we had, which was kind of a shock to me that anybody mentioned it, but I did like that game.
It was fun.
I'm surprised there's 2 mentions of Resident Evil 4.
I kind of am too.
Yeah. All right, CB, you're up.
Matthew Brody, Division 2, good choice. Modern Warfare, better choice. Overwatch.
That game's really good.
Spider-Man PS4 and Mass Effect 2. I can agree with 3 of your 4 choices.
I was confused by Modern Warfare. Does he mean Warzone, like the new one? Or...
Don't care.
Okay.
Whether it's the new one, Warzone, or the original, they were all good.
Fair enough.
So
yeah, you can't go wrong with Modern Warfare. Spider-Man PS4 is a really good feel good game until you get to that final act.
Yep, that hurt.
I think the final act where it's a city under siege by a viral toxin that has been released into the city is probably going to be a little strange.
Yeah.
In the current climate.
I mean, he also put Division 2 on his list, so...
Yeah. I was going to say, although Spider-Man, I guess, you do triumph, so...
Right.
You get to beat it. How about that?
There you go.
I don't know if you beat it in Division 2, because I couldn't be bothered.
It just kind of keeps going. I mean, there's an end game, but it just keeps going.
See, Oscar Decker, who should have Doom Eternal on his list because he just won a copy.
It's true.
Said, just because these are in my top 10 favorite games of all time, and now would be a great time to replay them. Well, I did replay Dead Space 2 weeks ago, but I just can't get enough of its atmospheric horror. So Metal Gear Solid, BioShock, Silent Hill 2, Chrono Trigger, and Dead Space.
Chrono Trigger's a good call.
That's a respectable ass list.
I have been replaying Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo this past week because we want to talk about it on Patreon, and I miss Super Nintendo JRPGs. I really just miss the sprite-based simplicity of those games. I need to go back to the well.
I'm actually really happy that he picked Metal Gear Solid. So
that is a good game. I actually played both versions. I played the original, and then I played the
Twin Snakes.
Twin Snakes, yep.
I was gonna say I'm hoping he means Twin Snakes because that was far superior.
Well, the first one looks very
Whoa!
rough.
I'm sorry. No. It is not. The original PS1 game is definitely the superior version of Metal Gear Solid.
I actually
And
remember
they should-
liking the original better as well, but
The cutscenes in the Twin Snakes remake are bizarre because they're just very anime. I think he jumps off a missile at one point. Like a tank fires a missile at him and he kicks it back, if I'm remembering correctly.
didn't they have a fist fight on top of a missile or something? Or is it on top of a moving Jeep?
They have a fist fight on top of a Metal Gear.
Oh, that makes sense.
That was pretty cool. No, the original version is definitely superior, but you know what? That game needs a Resident Evil 2 style remake.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Actually,
oh my god,
just 1 and 2, just both of them.
Well, yeah, you can't make 3 any better than it is, so that makes sense.
Yes, you can.
Did we not like 3 here?
I never finished it. I couldn't get past the controls are awful, man. Those controls are not good.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What about when you're climbing that ladder and they play the entire theme song for 3 minutes before they let you off? That was pretty cool.
I don't remember that.
It's awesome. It's pretty deep into the game.
Yeah, I did not get that far. All right, Manda Hipshin says, purely because these are the games I'm playing at the moment, Borderlands 3, The Last Guardian, We Happy Few, Titanfall, and I'm always somewhere through a playthrough of Skyrim. My housemate just got Animal Crossing, though, and I have a character in her game. I've never played it before, but a brief go on an Animal Crossing game I got with my DS 10 years ago, got bored. But when I had a chance to play it, I'm finding it strangely addictive. And the reason I wanted to make sure we mention that is you will not hear us talk about Animal Crossing on this show because none of us played it. And that's not a knock against the game. That is just a game that is not for me. I can't speak for you two, but I tried the last one and gave it a good run, several hours, and I just could not find enjoyment in it personally. Are you guys Animal Crossing fans?
I would play it, but my biggest problem is finding the time to commit to it. Because that game is truly a time sink.
Mm-hmm.
So, plus, I think you put it best. Chores the video game.
That's what it felt like to me.
And just, it's got the irritating thing where it seems like it wants to make you feel good. I get tired of that. Come on now.
Just don't understand that mentality.
Don't make me happy. Get out of here with this.
So, props though on We Happy Few. I've really
not
liked
played that still.
I finished that game and I was surprised at how darkly disturbing that game gets.
Do you think that game was hurt by early access?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
should
feel that
go back and check that one out.
If early access didn't hit that, I feel that game would have been probably a sleeper hit.
Okay.
I appreciate the love for Titanfall 2.
I do as well.
Yeah.
And I would like to say I appreciate Borderlands 3, but I've still only paid 45 minutes of that game, so.
Wah, wah.
Well, combined with the half hour you played at E3, and you're playing that game for like an hour, man.
That's true. Like doubled my E3 time there. You had to bring up E3, didn't you? Thanks a lot, man.
No.
I'm going to stab you.
Hey, how about you remember the good times we had instead of the good times we can't have?
Aw.
My camera.
Remember when you made that guy's day? You gave him the Watchdog statue?
Oh,
or
yeah?
The Cyberpunk statue?
Instead of bringing it back home and giving it to CB? Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, my camera still hates you.
Well, hey, you know what? Scott's one of the few people in the world who's played Watch Dogs Legions because of that, CB, so suck it up.
Yeah. So, moving along into Discord. Nate Lucas, our producer. Mario Kart 8, Mario Party 3 for the Switch. Hey, no, Mario Party Switch. I read that too fast. Number 3, Killer Queen Black. Jackbox Party Pack 3. And Quirkle, the board game.
I Love Nate's list is all games that not necessarily require, but are more enjoyable if you were playing them with people in the room. Not necessarily playing online, although you can play Killer Queen Black online. But these are all games that you play with somebody sitting right next to you instead of through the internet.
Nate misses.
Not taking that social distancing very seriously.
Well, if it's your
Nate
family,
misses
it's
people.
fine.
Are you kidding me? His beard fills out an entire room.
True story.
You're just mad that you don't have a beard anymore.
I am actually really mad because people keep bringing it up. So
it was a defining trait of yours, man, and now you don't have the beard.
4.5 years.
It's gonna come up.
I know.
You also look about 10 years younger.
I don't feel that way.
And rounder.
I'm really gonna stab you.
Wow.
No, I don't mean
that was mean.
No, I don't mean rounder as in
He's just like,
fat.
That's how it came across.
No, your head looks
That's how
rounder.
it's-
Like before with the beard, it made it look more elongated. Now that the beard is gone, your head looks very. You look like my friend Matt Bai. I'm gonna find a picture of Matt and share it with you.
Okay.
Wait, Nate seems like a very happy-go-lucky, family-oriented list. Thanks for sharing. Jerrer45 says, Diablo 3 times 5. It is all I need. If I start getting bored, I'll just play a different class.
Literally,
Good point.
stay a while and listen.
I understood that reference.
Thank you.
Is that from Diablo 2?
Yes.
Okay, I figured. Thomas
Great
Bex says, number 1, Football Manager 2020. Number 2, Civilization. Number 3, World of Warcraft. Number 4, Marvel Strike Force. And number 5, Disco Elysium. I picked these games because they have massive replayability or are enormous and will take a long time to complete and have multiple endings to explore. Marvel Strike Force is a mobile game, right?
Yes.
It is, and I didn't consider mobile games because I play DC Legends and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes every single day and have for years.
Yeah, and I didn't put Soulguard on my
Yeah.
list. I don't want to break my streak, so I may have to go replace something with that.
I know, right? Yeah, what am I gonna do now?
Can't do my dailies.
Darn it.
I wonder which
I can't live without my
civilization
dailies.
he means, because there's, 6 of them now, and that's not even counting Civilization Revolutions.
Maybe he meant Civilization.
Just the first one?
Yeah.
I still think that's my
I don't
favorite.
know. He's the one guy left in the world playing point-and-click games, so it just makes sense you play old stuff.
There's
Well,
more than just Thomas
there
playing
was a-
point-and-click adventure games.
Is there even a point-and-click game on this list?
No.
Well, Disco Elysium technically could be considered
What's it like a CRPG, though, right?
Yeah.
Like
it
an old
is.
school, like Baldur's Gate style game?
I haven't played
Oh,
it.
man.
That is, Disco Elysium is not a traditional point and click.
No.
I don't think that, actually, you know what? I don't think this is Thomas Bex. I think it's an imposter.
Well, I'm
This
just,
can't
I'm
be
just
right.
happy that somebody out there is still buying the Football Manager games.
I was going to say, that is the clue that it's Thomas, because that is not football as in NFL. That is
Man,
football.
you got to ruin my joke because I was
Well-
going to be like, who are you going to pick? The Bears or the Packers?
Yeah, and I guess the Marvel Strike Force is a giveaway, too, because we talk crap to each other on Discord about DC Legends versus Marvel Strike Force all the time.
That's right, you're the DC guy. I always forget that.
So, Spencer Cushing, Just Dance 2020, because my kids love playing this game with me. Skyrim,
Well,
Red Dead.
that is just regular Skyrim. That's not Elder Scrolls Online. He's just saying regular, good old Skyrim.
Well, Elder
That's
Scrolls
a
Skyrim.
lot of Skyrim on this list.
It's 'cause-
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
When you
Red
need a
Dead
time
Redemption.
sink.
Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Pick games that'll take a long time to beat, full of side quests, and easily playable over and over.
You know, that is a lot of games to get through in 2 weeks, Spencer.
Red
mean,
Dead
ju-
Redemption 2 alone.
Well, Skyrim alone, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think I put 80 or 90 hours in that game, if I remember correctly.
Well, you can just start playing Red Dead 2 around bedtime so you can fall asleep.
That's true.
I can't wait till I replay that game in 4 years and fall in love with it and have to eat crow about everything I'm saying.
I just can't wait for you to eat crow ever. So yeah, I'm down. That's like my favorite. Whenever Zack texts me and says, "Man, I should have played this game a long time ago," I'm like, "Yes, you should have."
Oh man, Division 2, what a shooter.
Yeah.
Huh? Played it. Well, I wish it didn't have all that RPG in the way. I would have kept playing that game.
That was my drive, man. I went through and cleared out all the stuff, man. I love clearing out the zones and getting all the, what do they call those little recon points? I can't remember what they call them. It's been so long.
Don't say the word recon to me right now. I'm so bitter.
Oh, is that?
Sam Fisher is playable now in that Ghost Recon DLC.
Breakpoint.
Yeah, I assume he plays with all the breakpoint mechanics, of course. But man, they're really pouring salt in that wound, aren't they?
Man, I might actually have to pull that game out and play it.
No, I can't wait. I'm going to buy this stupid game. But Cody says Division 2. That keeps coming up. State of Decay 2. Blood Tide 6? Bloons Tide 6?
I had no idea what that game was either. Bloons TD 6.
Yeah. Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends. I pick these since I enjoy them a lot, which is that's the best reason to pick things. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cody's got 2 Respawn games on his list, much like myself, so respect to Cody. Also, Titanfall 2 getting more love. What a game.
A lot of Titanfall 2 on these lists this week.
I gotta replay this, or I gotta boot up that multiplayer, man. It's so good.
I've never touched the multiplayer in it.
That's absurd to me.
Yeah.
But you prestiged the first one.
I did. And I think that might be why I was like, I'm not doing this again.
Oh, man. I think Titanfall 2, the multiplayer took longer to get into, but I think it's got more to offer.
Interesting. Next up is Alec Nicenwander, who said 1, Rocket League, 2, League of Legends, 3, Slay the Spire. Man, that's a great game, by the way, if you haven't played that.
I gotta play that thing.
That's on Game Pass as well. That's really clever. 4, Warzone, 5, then maybe something out of my GameCube collection. I picked most of mine based on that a lot of my friends will also be online, so not only will I be able to play the game, but I'll be able to enjoy time with my friends as well. Good call.
Yeah. GameCube.
Time to boot up Gears 2 for the glory days, Scott.
Oh, dude, that's a really good idea.
We could make some Patreon content out of that, right?
Oh man, we could call it Brian Williams.
Oh, yeah. He's not doing much, right? He's gotta be home too.
Bomb just moved to Ohio, so he's actually a little bit closer. I bet he'd be down with playing some Gears 2. Aaron, who else? Man, there's a whole bunch of... I know people by their screen names more than their real names, but that's not a bad idea, Zach.
Okay. That could be cool.
That could be really cool. I mean, those are all on Game Pass as well, too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like that needs to happen. All right, CB, you're up.
David Newman. If I'm reading this correctly, then it's only for 2 weeks. I'm picking games not necessarily long, but online and backlog games. So Rocket League, Call of Duty, and then Uncharted 1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
That seems to be a lot of people that never got around to playing Uncharted.
Yes, it's kind of a surprising amount of Uncharted on here.
Yeah, David's actually going to come on a Patreon episode and do a Break the Seal because he is playing those games for the first time.
Oh, funny. Wow. Me too.
Really? Huh. That'll be awesome then. I feel like Zach's got to be on those episodes.
Yeah, I do. I do love me the Uncharted.
But he's actually going to go through 1 through 4 and the what was the spin-off?
Lost Legacy?
Lost Legacy, yeah.
Yes. That's okay. I mean, I just reinstalled Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. There is something about this quarantine that just makes you want to, because you can blast through all 3 of those games fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely get through.
And they're fun. They're not like egregious at all. They're enjoyable. They're good.
Yeah.
Roller coaster movies.
And they're not, I was gonna say they're not very challenging because they want you to get through them because they want you on that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good feel good kind of game right
food.
Now. Yes, that's a good way. Comfort food game.
Are you saying Uncharted is the mashed potatoes of games?
No, it's
more like cotton candy.
Tater tot casserole of video games.
Okay.
Well, 1 through 3 are mashed potatoes, and 4 is a tater tot casserole. It wants you to take it seriously.
No, flip that around.
But really, it's
tater tot casserole.
But really, it's I don't know what tater tot casserole is.
It is the most delicious thing you'll ever have. It is not fancy at all. Next time you're in town, I'm going to make you a tater tot casserole, and you're going to be like, Scott, give me the recipe because this is amazing.
Wow. Okay. Big claim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nate W says Sekiro. Oh, that would have been a good choice because it's just so freaking good. Moonlighter, I still need to play the game on New Game Plus.
I should have put that on my list.
3 is Dead Cells, because each one is different. 4, any of the third generation Pokemon. I don't even know how many times I've beaten these games, but it's the one series that I always return to when I don't know what else to play. And 5, I have to put my all-time favorite game on here, Hollow Knight.
You know, Hollow Knight is, I probably should have put on mine even above Moonlighter or Children of Morta because I didn't finish it. Hollow Knight is so good, and I got distracted.
Someone's got a real fetish here for the roguelikes.
Yes. Nate W. is a man after my own heart.
Well, props, love Dead
Sekiro,
Cells. So.
Man, there's no better time to beat Sekiro than now. I'm in the middle of a playthrough.
That game just scares me so bad. I don't like feeling like I'm terrible at games. I already know I'm terrible at games. I don't need Sekiro to tell me that I'm terrible at games.
Hey, man, I would say I'm pretty good at Dark Souls, and I would say that I'm really good at Bloodborne because I got the Platinum, and I will tell you I am not very good at Sekiro. So don't feel, maybe you'll be good at Sekiro if you're not good at the other ones.
Maybe. You're trying to tempt me, aren't you?
It's a good game.
Maybe I'm like a Sekiro prodigy and I just don't even know it.
Wouldn't that be funny? Like you come on here next week, you're like, yeah, I already beat Sekiro.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be challenging. I don't know.
Just breeze right through it, put it on hard difficulty.
It's no problem. I didn't even upgrade my character because I just was like, well, it's not going to be challenging if I do that.
That would be amazing. First time playing it. No, it's not going to happen. Next up is Chad Cusick, who says, number 1, Rocket League. 2, Call of Duty. 3, Halo Master Chief Collection. We're not counting that, right?
No.
You can't. No, there's nothing else counting.
So we'll give him Halo ODST by default.
Well, that's the best one, so that makes sense.
All right. 4, Fallout 3, and 5, Mass Effect 2. We got a couple Mass Effect 2s in there, so I think that's good. CB?
Yeah. Logan Honigford, Ark, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Mario Switch.
I assume he means
very general.
I assume he means Mario Maker.
Okay.
I would have assumed Mario Odyssey. So
okay,
who knows?
We'll have to ask Logan which one he means.
It could be Mario Party.
Could be. I don't think
could
so.
be Mario Kart. Man, it could be anything.
Minecraft, because he usually plays with his cousin, and
That's nice.
Pokemon.
Okay.
Well, luckily they only ever made that one game.
Yeah.
So. It's easy to narrow down.
So, man, I really want to try Ark.
I don't. The survival games just don't do anything for me. I couldn't even get into Don't Starve, which is supposed to be like a lighter version of that.
Okay.
I just couldn't.
It doesn't do it for me. I agree. Mick Sweaty says, number 1, Hades. I can waste day after day playing that game. Number 2, World of Warcraft. I'll just keep telling myself I don't need to play all day every day once the 2 weeks is up. 3, Diablo 3, because it's Diablo 3. 4, Final Fantasy 15. Maybe I'll actually finish it. 5, if I'm going to be quarantined with my family, Jackbox 6. If I am alone, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I like it.
Interesting.
Like the caveat.
I did not expect Kingdom Come to show up.
That was like straight out of left field. So
I do love all the love for Diablo 3, though. I feel like we're going to have to do some community game nights with Diablo 3 if anybody's on Xbox One, because I haven't touched that game in a long time. But I had a barbarian that was getting up there. I think it was like a 30 level Paragon. So I should
Mix Sweaty, finish Final Fantasy 15, and cry.
Yep. Bro Trip is all about it.
I love that game so much.
It's so good.
I used to just sit and chill with that game so much. Have we talked about this? Where you could just like set this radio station and play like old classic Final Fantasy music in the car.
Yeah, and you could. Yeah, I was saying you can have Ignis drive, so you can just kind of relax.
I totally did. I would sit there and let him drive because you'd earn experience while you were driving, and I'd either listen to the radio or listen to a podcast. Jack around on my phone while I went from place to place. It was great.
Yeah, the combat is it's nice and simple, and the story lures you into thinking it's not going to be very serious, and then it smacks you when it is.
I did everything in that game too. I actually got all the achievement points. I did the damn fishing in that game to get the last achievement.
Haven't done all that, but I did play every piece of DLC for it.
So good. The only part that would slow it down for me was that one mission. I think it was like mission 12 or act 12 or what.
Oh, yeah, I came to it late, so I did not have to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They patched that out?
You have the option if you don't want to do because you're talking about where you don't have your powers,
Right.
and you're alone, right?
Yeah.
You can opt to play as different characters with what they were doing at the time instead, and just kind of get a cutscene overview of what's happening.
That makes me kind of want to go back and see what those other characters were doing at that time. What a good game. It's a good game.
It is.
I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce this one. I'm going to assume Davin Valosa says, number 1, Civilization 6, because it's an addicting game, time sink, and we have, well, time. Number 2, Battlefront 2, the only real multiplayer console game I've been playing. 3, Jedi Fallen Order. It's a single-player campaign that my son and I are playing past the controller and beating it together. We're not used to the Souls-like controls, so it's taking forever. Pro tip there, just drop it to easy and play through to experience the story, because it's that good.
Here's my pro tip. Put the attack button on R1.
Oh, okay.
I think it makes the game a whole lot.
Or RB
better.
if you're on an Xbox.
Correct, yes.
4, Jackbox. My parents are shacked in with us during this time, so a family of 5 plus 2, my parents, in one house, the perfect family game for all ages. Number 5, Assassin's Creed series. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game, but own almost all of them. I intend to play the series someday. I just did this with the Uncharted series, and I'm almost done with the last. If you're going to start with Assassin's Creed, maybe you guys could back me up on this. Start with 2.
Yep, skip 1.
I mean, I liked 1, but just go ahead.
I love 1.
Start with 2. It's a solid game.
One is hard to get
you're
into these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I love 1. I think it's like my second favorite one probably, but it might not be the best way to start the franchise these days.
I would say maybe go watch a retrospective of the story of the first one, because I think the Desmond stuff in the first one is important.
Is the first one even on modern consoles?
It was Xbox 360, but it is backwards compatible.
It's PC.
Okay, well I'm saying because like on PS4 they did the Ezio collection,
but it wasn't in that collection. The Ezio collection started with 2.
Yeah.
But they never remastered that first game, did they?
Nope.
No.
Okay, that's what I meant. Because they friggin' remastered Assassin's Creed Rogue, so it's weird they didn't remaster the first game.
I will say I still really do like Altair's character.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What a great arc.
Yeah, it really was. So
Altair Inla'ad.
So
he's great.
That he is.
Play those.
So Drew Ross, stuck at home for 2 weeks. I'd go number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Children of Morta, Division 2, Minecraft, and No Man's Sky.
Only one said No Man's Sky.
Yeah, like I said, man, I like Elite Dangerous better.
Interesting.
Division 2 getting a whole lot of love.
Totally.
Man.
And some more love for Children of Morta as well. I love it. I like it.
Hey man, it's on my list. You should be so happy.
I am happy.
You can go to bed and tell your wife, like, Zach, put it on his list.
That's how she gets me going. She rolls over in the middle of the night and says, "Hey Scott, I heard Zach played Division 2." Like, all right, it's time. It's time.
Oh God,
such a good shooter. He's right. Gamer Dead 03. Before we go off the rails here, anything battle royale except Fortnite. Yes, that means PUBG, Warzone, Cuisines Royale.
I have never heard of that one.
That's a new one for me.
You cook on an island. 100 chefs enter Gordon Ramsay's mansion.
Oh, I'd play that.
That would be so good. Apex Legends, and for the last game, Rocket League. I would also try out a new game to have fun with, like Doom Eternal.
Believe it or
not, man, you ran out of games.
Believe it or not, Doom Eternal has that battle mode.
The 2v1 mode?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, wow. I never even considered booting it up.
It's pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
We are going to move on to Twitter as we finish up this discussion. The first one comes from Johnny, which is at Johnny Don't. He says, I would pay $80 to play a Switch game on my Xbox. Does that count? Would it be just the perfect time to tear down the exclusive wall?
Yes.
I think I would pay $80 to play a Switch game on my Xbox as well.
Pretty sure I'd pay $100.
Yeah.
I more want Game Pass on Switch.
Ooh.
Take Game Pass with me.
Well, we kind of do if we ever get this Project XCloud thing out of beta. Because all those.
That's what I mean.
Sucks to sucks, iPhone nerd.
It's coming.
Wow. Okay.
They opened it up. I'm not a, what do you call it? The ambassador. I'm not in the ambassador program like you are, so I don't get that.
Oh, can't all be winners. So,
Jeez, man, he really doesn't like iPhone. This guy.
no, I don't. Mark Gisby at Gisby Mark. Persona 5, greatest game ever in my opinion.
He must be stoked about Royale, right? Or Royal?
Yeah, bold statement. SMT4 Apocalypse, adult Pokemon game linked to Persona. Fortnite pick up and play addictive. Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS, 70 plus hours of glorious story. And Diablo 3, mindless fun when feeling low.
That's a good way to describe that game. Mindless fun.
Yes.
Someday I gotta play this Persona 5 game that I own.
I played about 3 hours of it, and I really liked it, and then never went back.
So many people think of it as their favorite game ever, I feel like. There must be some kind of magic. And I wonder, I would like to know if, Mark, let me know on Twitter, Discord, something, if this was your first Persona you played. Because I wonder if that has to do with it. Because I know a lot of people whose favorite game is Persona 4 as well. And that was their first. I wonder if it's one of those.
I'm honestly amazed at the amount of Persona games there are out there. Because there's more than
even
just,
outside of 5.
Well, no, because not only is there like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a ton of them.
Aren't there like dancing ones too, or they're just complete rhythm games?
Dancing game, fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
The fighting game is canon, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
There's like a 3DS Etrian Odyssey developers did a Persona game on 3DS.
Well, there's the Shin Megami ones.
Shin Megami
that's
Tensei.
the overarching. Though that's the branding of.
But it still says Persona.
Some of them, but Shin Megami Tensei doesn't necessarily mean Persona. But Persona is always Shin Megami Tensei.
It's like a square is always a rectangle, but a rectangle is not always a square.
Words.
Yeah, I don't really know if there's a comparison.
Words.
But I got what you're saying. Yeah, they're not words. It's a confusing franchise.
Yes.
But hey, I like people. A lot of people putting their favorite games on their list. Yeah, comfort food in these trying times. But Bob Villarreal at GoCastBob, number 1, Dead Space 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Number 3, Final Fantasy VII. Number 4, Doom Eternal. And number 5, MLB The Show 20.
That's a good call. That would have been a good one for being stuck inside for 2 weeks at this time of year, since there's no baseball to watch.
Play the next 2 seasons.
I feel like it would just hurt to play that right now.
It's better than nothing.
I suppose. Dead Space 2. What a choice.
Yes, it is. I need to replay that as well. By the way, Scott Calgaro, who we did the Patreon episode, after we did that episode of those 3 games, he went back and played through all 3 of them again. He liked them that much.
Yeah. I remember beating Dead Space 2. The very first thing I did was start a new game.
Yes, sir. And our last comment comes from Brandon Dumars. He is found at a half-eaten corpse. That is his Twitter handle. Number 1, Minecraft, unlimited adventure and building. Number 2, Battle Royale games, solid player versus player. PUBG, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Modern Warfare. Got to pick one, sir.
We'll pretend he picked Apex.
He picked Apex because that's our favorite?
Yeah,
all right.
That is correct.
Number 3, World of Warcraft. Do I need to explain? Number 4, Tom Clancy's Division 2. Diablo-esque MMO third-person shooter with appropriate time period. I think Division
That's gotta be the most
2,
picked game.
I think Division 2 wins.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I mean, you've got the fact that there's tons of content in that game. You can play it single player, you can play it multiplayer, and it just fits in with what's going on in the world. I think that's why that game just wins for so many reasons. It's just got too many good points.
But it also is really good.
It is really good.
I can attest.
It's a good shooter.
It does play well. I can say that officially. Maybe I should just suck it up and do some side quests.
I think you should.
Yeah.
There are some really fun missions towards the end of that where you go to some places in DC that are pretty cool. That just when you realize where you are and what you're doing, it's like, oh, okay, All right, we're doing this. I really like
the museum.
Yeah, that's one. I was thinking yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'm gonna end up playing this stupid game more. All right.
Yes, you are. Well, thank you to everybody that contributed. That wound up being a lot of fun. I know we just kind of read them and commented, but I really enjoyed doing that. So thanks for taking part in our little social experiment. Next week's topic, we have yet to decide what it is, but I do know we have a special guest joining us next week. I think he's really excited, but CJ Moore is going to be joining on the show next week. I'm waiting to hear from him about what topic he would like to discuss, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we do have a new Facebook member to say hello to. Just a reminder, if you'd like to join some good conversation and keep up with game-related news, head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Our new member this week is Kat Griskevich. So welcome to the community over there. I hope you're enjoying the community. And over on Discord, we do have a Discord server. Same deal over there, but the link for that is in the show notes for this episode. And we got to say hi to Family Goo 113. Welcome to the Discord. And no new iTunes reviews next week. Just want to ask you one more time, please head over to iTunes, drop us a review, let us know what you think of the show, and we will read it on the show, and it does help us get the word out there about The Gaming Outsider. Finally, our website, thegamingoutsider.com, that's where we keep track of all the episodes that we do, as well as any written reviews. And you can find written reviews there for Moneymaker, which is a board game that CB reviewed. Zack's review of Ori and the Will of the Wisps is on there as well. My review of Dandara, Trials of Fear Edition, will be up there by the time you hear this episode, as well as Bobble for Friends, which I'm going to be talking about here in the near future. And then lastly, Josh Ershman's review of Zombie Army 4 Dead War. Please do us a favor, head over there and read those articles. It really helps us get the word out as well. With that, let's jump into...
Knocking out.
What's that?
Sorry, knocking out some written content this week, man.
Yes, we got quite a bit out there, and there should be just as much this coming week as well, too. We got quite a few in the hopper, so stay tuned for that. A couple of them were released. Bobble 4 doesn't come out until for another week, so we got that. We'll have that one ahead of time. But save your money anyway. What? Spoiler alert. We'll get there. Let's talk about the games we've actually been playing. Zach, what is coming out this week?
Oh, yeah, man. Big week, which is, I guess, good in these trying quarantine times.
Mm-hmm.
Moons of Madness, which is its key art really wants you to think it's Dead Space, but it looks almost, it's like a horror game.
I'm excited about that
Sci-fi horror
one.
game. Yeah, it looks really good. PS4 and Xbox One, March 24th. Not Ninja Theory. The other one.
Team Ninja?
No, it is Ninja Theory. Never mind.
Okay.
Their new game, Bleeding Edge, their melee multiplayer game, officially launches on Xbox One and PC March 24th. That'll be on Game Pass since they're owned by Microsoft.
Oh,
now.
is that the arena-based one?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm out.
CB Zone Freedom Finger coming to PS4 and Xbox One March 24th. Getting off. I forgot how many notable voice actors are in that thing.
Oh, there's a ton.
Yeah, Nolan North's in it, and that's enough for me. Element Space, it's an XCOM style tactical game with a whole sprinkling of Mass Effect in there. I'm going to talk about that later. Coming to PS4 March 24th. A Twin Breaker, a Sacred Symbols Adventure, which is an Arkanoid style game with a storyline. Coming on PS4 and Vita March 24th. It's also from a PlayStation podcast. They made a video game.
I am
That's
super
kinda
interested in Arkanoid style game with a story. Sold.
Yeah, supposed to be like a hard sci-fi story. So check that out. Vampire the Masquerade: Coteries of New York coming to PS4 and Switch March 25th. Man, that Worlds of Darkness license is getting hit hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is popular. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy getting ported to PS4 and Switch March 26th from the same people that brought you Jedi Knight 2 to console. And Lost Words Beyond the Page, a Stadia exclusive for its first year, March 27th. I'm bummed about this one because it's written by Brianna Pratchett, who wrote the Tomb Raider reboot and its sequel. And I played it at E3 and it was very charming and kind of emotionally touching. And what a shame I can't play it for a year because there ain't no way I'm getting a Stadia.
That's too bad.
But it is good. I guess it is good they're locking down exclusives, so that their hearts must be in it somewhat.
I agree. I will say from this list, if I had to pick one, I would pick Twin Breaker, just because that concept sounds amazing to me. But since I loaned out my PS4 to somebody this past week, I do not have it. I'm going to have to go with Moons of Madness as the one I would pick for the week.
Oh man, I would have loved to. I've been looking forward to this Twin Breaker actually for some time. So I think it would be cool to talk to you about it, but I guess you don't have a PS4. It's wild that it's on Vita.
I was just going to say, CB has a Vita, don't you?
Yep.
Maybe I could borrow his and get that on there.
Maybe.
Yeah, you playing your Vita all the time, CB?
Surprisingly, I carry it with me every day at work.
Wow, okay. I am surprised to hear that.
So, yeah, man, I'm going to be playing Moons of Madness.
Looks good.
It does look really good. Much like Scott could tell you, you don't need to bother with the Bobble. I don't think you need to bother with Element Space.
Yeah.
Rough week. We'll get there, though. We'll get there.
I'll boot up Jedi Knight Academy and have some fond memories of when I used to play it online all the time.
Is that the one on original Xbox?
It was on original Xbox, yeah.
Okay, because I played
it was on PC as well. I used to role play online in Jedi Academy.
Oh.
Not sexually.
I don't think you had to clarify.
I don't know. You guys always think I'm dirty-minded over here.
You are, but I don't think that either of us were going that route. And the fact that
I just
you
have fond
did.
memories. Someone made there was a restaurant map that someone made, and you would order things like Hans Toasted Buns and stuff like that, like silly names.
Okay.
And it was, I don't know, I just remember part of the roleplay was like queuing in line to get to the counter to order your food. It was silly, but man, I played a lot of that game back in the day.
Apparently.
Hey, who knows? After this week, maybe somebody else besides me will have finally played Freedom Finger.
Yeah, I've played Freedom Finger.
You played the first level.
Fair if you are listening, you can send me a code for Freedom Finger. I will play it.
I will.
But I don't know how much.
I will hit up the developers right after this because I actually talked.
Yeah,
with them.
you do have a friend. So. They should put you in the sequel, CB.
Dude, I would love that.
I can't imagine. Like, why wouldn't they? Honestly, there's no. Your quote should be on the box, which I think. Oh yeah, they said they would, right?
Yeah, they're talking about it. They're actually having issues with the box, so.
Because they can't sell it with that imagery on the front cover of the box.
Really?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It reminds me of when Walmart refused to sell Conquer Live and Reloaded.
Yeah.
Because the box art made it look like the tank cannon was his penis.
I believe it.
That's so ridiculous.
Okay, so I am chomping at the bit to hear you guys talk about Doom Eternal because I did not pick up this game. Mostly because I didn't even finish the first one, so I just wasn't like in a big hurry, and I had other things to play anyway. So, let's see who wants to go first.
Well, I beat it.
You did beat it. So, how does this compare to the original? Is it more of the same, or did they do enough different to make it feel fresh?
They did enough to make it feel fresh. However, I still slightly enjoyed the first one more.
Interesting. Okay.
So
the first one's so gosh darn good.
Yeah, it's really hard to top the 2016 Doom. So
I would say they do stuff to try to keep it fresh here, but I found a lot of it superfluous, and there's a few changes they do to the combat that don't work for me. So I'm interested to see what CB thinks.
Wasn't there was one bit I played at the E3 demo where you can like aim rockets around objects or barriers?
Yeah, funny they got rid of that tutorial, Scott. I wonder why.
Oh, okay, because it took us both. We both struggled with that, right?
It was every single person, at least in our row of the computers, had to have the developer tell them how to get past that tutorial lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean with the auto-locking rockets that you can shoot around corners?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they're still there. It's you have to unlock them.
Right. Well, but in the demo, they'd had a mandatory tutorial you had to get past to play the game.
Ugh.
And no one could get past the tutorial for those rockets. It's ridiculous.
I was just glad it wasn't just me, because it was Zack too. I was like, thank God Zack is also stuck, because I feel really stupid.
I was happy it wasn't just me. It was everybody.
Yep.
There's a reason that's not there.
So if, for a guy that, I mean, can you even spoil the story of a Doom game? I mean, isn't this just go slay the
Yes.
Yeah, there's a pretty deep story in this one.
Okay.
I was going to say, and I don't know if you agree, CB, but I would actually say, I think it would be hard to play Doom Eternal if you didn't play the first Doom story-wise.
Yes, I would
That's
completely agree.
That's how deep, that's like how much they focus on the story this time is.
Okay.
Well, I actually texted Zack because I'm not overly a fan of the story. I grew up in a world where Doom was started up and shoot until it's done. The story was slim pickings. This, they actually go pretty deep into story, which I was just like, I just want to shoot more demons. Like, stop storying me. I want to shoot more demons.
There's a lot of story.
Yeah, there's a lot of story. So I took a little bit of issue with that. The combat, though, is insane. I made the mistake of booting this up and playing this on Ultraviolent straight out of the gate.
Which is the hardest level of difficulty, I assume?
Under Nightmare. Like, there's I'm a Baby, Hurt Me Plenty, Ultraviolent, Nightmare. And
okay, so you didn't go to the hardest level, you just went to hard.
I went to hard. I'm not dumb enough to go to Nightmare.
I played the first Doom on Ultraviolent, and I had to go down to Hurt Me Plenty on Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I thought it was much more difficult.
It is brutally difficult. I think I made it about 80% of the way through the game, and then I actually had to turn it down because there are areas where you are just so flooded and inundated with enemies that there is almost no physical way you can survive.
Wow.
It's tough.
Some of the mini bosses, I actually texted Zack, like, the Marauders are just brutally difficult because they have a shield and you actually have to keep them at mid-range, wait for them to attack, and then counter their attack. There's actually a spot in the game where you're taking on 2 of those and a Tyrant at the same time.
Wow. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
The enemy type you're talking about was a really fun boss battle when it was just one-on-one. I don't want to see them when you're fighting other enemies too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's pretty unique enemy type in any game where you don't want them short or long range, you want them mid range, you know?
Yes.
That's cool.
And I do give them props over the fact that every single new enemy type that you run into in this game, they give you a quick synopsis of them. Like, oh, this is an arachnotron. It's a heavy ranged, like, this is its weak point. Good luck. And that's all it tells you, and then starts the fight.
Which is essential because every enemy type has a different weakness, and they kind of give you the recommended gun for taking them down, essentially. Because at least the way I'm playing, I'm constantly switching between guns because they work better on different enemies. So it's like this little dance of prioritization of, well, I want to take down the Arachnotron over here, so I'll use a rocket launcher on its cannon because I could take that out in one hit. And I'll follow up with another rocket, and then, oh, look, there's a Marauder over there. So I'll use a super shotgun to finish off the Arachnotron before I go over to the Marauder because he's super weak to the super shotgun. And it's just this, and you're thinking all of this in under a second.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very fast paced. And surprisingly, the gun that I used the most was the simple combat shotgun.
I was going to say the super shotgun, or Lucifer's Bane, as it's called in the Codex,
yes,
which is an awesome name, is my go-to gun for sure.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you guys, because one of the things of the little bit I played of the 2016 Doom, especially at the beginning of the game, there was like this dark sense of humor attached to it. Like where you're fist bumping a little mini Doom guy, or you're walking through and all the guys are scared of you because you're the Doom Slayer. Like, is there stuff like that going on in this game? Because I totally appreciated that in the first one.
Oh, it continues to a mega degree.
Okay.
That's interesting. I was going to say it continues, but I don't think it's its forefront. Because I think the game is taking itself a little bit too seriously in its story this time.
Ooh,
to where...
You're not far enough then.
I guess I'm certainly not far as CB, but where I'm at, they keep talking about the Doom. You're getting hits about Doom Guy's background and stuff. And there's a lot of cool stuff that happens. Like, I really appreciate at the start of the game, your goal is to kill 3 priests of hell. And the game starts with you killing one immediately. And then Doom Guy, the Doom Slayer, just tosses his head on the ground to the other 2. And he definitely has the opportunity to murder the next 2. But he doesn't. He just like walks around them like a shark.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically like, yeah, run. I want to hunt you.
Yeah, and
like that's super
afraid.
Cool. And and they're terrified of you because hell knows who you are, and they are deadly. You're the John Wick of hell. Everybody knows who you are, and they're like, oh, great, we made this guy mad.
Oh, the character's attitude is surprisingly hilarious at times. But one of my biggest things is I love games where the protagonist never talks.
I hate games where the protagonist never talks.
Well, he talks in this game.
But it works in this game real well.
He talks.
He does?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does not talk yet where I'm at.
So,
and I'm happy about it.
I give credit to the makers of this game, though. The final last 2 boss fights were unbelievably entertaining. So, you're in for a treat, Zach. So
sounds like it. So is the gameplay pretty much the same though in terms of super slick movement, just crazy amounts of violence, glory kills, all that is all still present?
Yes.
I was going to say yes and no.
All right.
So they do. To me, like I love the first. I hate that you have to say Doom 2016 because if you say the first Doom, we all know what you're talking about, but you're gonna get someone online who's like, actually, the first Doom was on PC.
Right.
But anyway, Doom 2016. I thought the combat was absolutely immaculate. In this game, I feel like the ammo is more limited because they want you to chainsaw as well. Whereas in the first Doom, the chainsaw was kind of the last resort thing to get yourself more ammo. So I feel like I'm running out of ammo way more. And they also want to use this flamethrower thing to get you armor. So you're chainsawing, you're doing the flamethrower thing, and you're doing the glory kills for health, much like in the first game. But now instead of just the glory kills interrupting combat, now you have the flamethrower and the chainsaw interrupting your combat. So I feel like I feel like it's getting in the way of its own self. And then, what are there, 3-4 upgrade systems in this game, CB?
Yes. Because you have
that's a lot.
Suit, Arsenal. There's the thing to unlock things at the Doom Fortress. And
right. Oh, yeah. I didn't even talk about you have a spaceship in this game.
And then there's the other one, which you don't unlock until later in the game anyways, so.
And there's like weapon mods, and you can upgrade your flamethrower thing, and there's an upgrade system for your suit. And it's just a lot. And they throw it at you all very quickly at the beginning of the game. So it's kind of feeling the game gets in its own way a little bit. But as I've learned to I'm flowing with the combat more, I still do not like the reliance on the chainsaw very much at all, because feels like I'm running out of. It feels like my screen always has low ammo on it.
Yes, I noticed that a lot.
Which I didn't think was as big a problem in the first Doom, because you want to be swapping weapons all the time because every enemy type has its own weaknesses and whatnot. But it feels like in this game I'm running out of ammo so often that I'm just kind of using. I find myself just using what I have more often than I would like to, and then it creates this weird system where you're just like trying to hunt down one of the throwaway enemies, like the little zombies, because you just want to chainsaw them for ammo. And on more than a few occasions, I've run out of the little zombies to kill. So now I'm just walking around waiting for my frag grenade to recharge to throw it at the enemy.
Which everybody loves doing that in the game.
Tons of fun.
Oh man, there's my favorite perk is the frag grenade that if it kills something, it makes multiple frag grenades. And it just like chains out. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah, I didn't even,
if you use the
there's also
flamethrower and then do the frag grenade with that, you're just like all the armor pieces you could ever want.
Yeah, it took me a while to learn that if you kill the enemy while they're still on fire, you get extra armor.
Yes.
That did help to learn. Also, the ice grenade comes in really handy because you can choose between a frag or an ice grenade. I'm not saying that I like it. It's useful for pinkies. It's still a lot of fun. It has way more platforming. which if you'll remember during the E3 demo, Scott, I said I was not excited about, but I actually thought it worked pretty well in practice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the combat is so much more intense at this one that it gives you a little pace breaker.
Right.
Yeah, there are definitely points in this game, though, where you feel so unbelievably overwhelmed, and I definitely feel that there's not as much... You don't have as big an ammo reserve as you did in the last one.
Yes, yeah, it makes a huge difference, too.
And so you're sitting here like, oh my god, like, I have to fight this, and I have none of this type of ammo, which is good for those.
Now,
So
is that because you guys
yes.
played it on hard for the first time, or is that just that different from this game?
I dropped it down to normal probably after 40 minutes. So
Did that help a lot?
no,
Still
it
rough.
didn't help the ammo thing at all, because they definitely want you to be using the chainsaw pretty constantly. Like, that seems to be what the designers intend, and I just don't think that works as well for the flow of the combat as it did. Because in the first game, you just use it. I could probably count on my hand, or my one hand, how often I use the chainsaw in the first game.
Gotcha.
But you're probably using this thing 5 times in a fight now.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird 2 to 3 second animation that just kind of, it just takes you out of the fighting.
Yeah, you definitely lose your flow when you use it. But yeah, I definitely do not like the Marauders. So on Ultra...
I liked it as a boss fight. For the first thing I said after I beat it was, I don't want these things in regular combat.
Yeah. I was actually just reading a comment from Facebook. Cody Chimpers on our Facebook group said, I would rather do 15 hours of platforming than fight one Marauder. That was so unfun and slowed the fast-paced nature of the game. Because it really does just force you to stop and just wait on this guy.
Because you have to wait for it. You have to wait for his eyes to flash green, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's a very specific attack window, which, yeah, I guess you're right, is... Man, that would severely disrupt the flow of combat. Yeah, okay, something to look forward to, I guess. Did you like the platforming, though, CB?
I actually thought it was really solid. There's one area coming up that you're going to hate because they spaced the jump out too far.
I wonder if it's...
I had to cheese it
the
really
level...
bad.
Is it the level where you're trying to go to the BFG?
No.
Okay, because that was the demo level we played. Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's still a really good game. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
it's just not doesn't reach those same heights. And I am weirdly way the hell into the story right now.
So I didn't, like I said, I don't mind it. I just, if it's a Doom game, I just want to kill things.
It has given me my "Who brought marshmallows because I'm bringing the fire" quote of the year. Because there's an audio log of a woman who's she's like, the ultimate life form exists and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance.
Yes, I know the exact one you're talking about.
That's pretty awesome writing. I hope if I ever write a story, I can write something as dumb and awesome as that. That's so cool.
I think you tweeted that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I was quite taken by it, man. That's a good quote.
I assumed it was from Doom Eternal when I read it, but that's good.
It's
so
yeah. I don't know the story. I'm way into, but CB makes it sound like maybe it doesn't wrap up that well.
No, I actually really enjoyed it. To me, I just like the character because it's essentially if you did take John Wick, crossed him with Ash from Evil Dead, and made him silent like Gordon Freeman.
I love that it. Yeah, I normally do not like silent protagonists because it doesn't make sense that a character is talking to you, like in Half-Life, where Gordon, we need you to do this, and you don't say anything. Or there's always an example of Homefront that you get separated from your group, and they're talking on the radio like, "Are you okay?" And you don't say anything. Like, it's what?
Yeah.
But in this game, he does not strike me as an individual who would want to talk.
No, he's there for one reason.
He just walks past people while they're like, "Oh, you're Doomslayer. Oh, we have this for you," and he just like pushes them aside because he doesn't need their chat, or he just rips a gun from a guard.
Yeah, that was like, he did that twice in that level. He took the gun and then the red badge.
Yes, well, there's like a guard talking crap to the Doom guy, and he just like gets all up in his face and then rips his gun away from him.
Then just walks off and uses the gun.
Yeah, it's still dumb.
Doesn't he wheel a guy in the first one? Doesn't he wheel a guy over in a wheelie chair by his badge around his neck or something?
Yeah, that was in our E3 demo. That's why you're thinking of
Oh,
it.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's still pretty cool. I don't know. I wish it would get out of its own way. There are also a surprising amount of puzzles in this game.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of platforming puzzles.
Huh.
So
It's really there's some box pushing in this Doom game. That was definitely a surprise.
Box pushing in a Doom game?
yes.
There was one light refraction puzzle.
What?
There's more coming.
It's very weird.
Some of the secrets are fun to find too.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I can tell this is gonna make a lot of people mad, this being here, but I liked it.
Oh, okay. So that is Doom Eternal. I think it's safe to say you both recommend it?
Yes.
With some slight reservations?
Absolutely. It seems it's a game that's getting better the more I play it, and the more I just get into its game loop. I feel like you're not going to understand unless you play how disorienting the chainsaw is to the gameplay.
Okay.
Because you run out of ammo, and there's not ammo on the... They don't put ammo on the maps as often as they used to, so you have to use that chainsaw. So now you're in the middle of fighting somebody, you run out of rockets, and now you're like, your only orientation now is, well, I got to find a guy to chainsaw. Because you can only chainsaw certain enemies.
Gotcha.
So, all right, Zach, tell me about Element Space. I'm curious.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is as I said earlier in the new game section, it is very XCOM inspired tactical, strategy game. It's all about cover, much like the XCOM games are. So you want to try to get yourself into a position of line of sight, and there's half cover, full cover, all the stuff in that game if you played it. And there's definitely a sprinkling of Mass Effect in here because you're making dialogue choices. And it is influencing your there's like 6 different factions you can ally yourself with, so there's a lot of that in there too. It's very weird. But the port of this game is miserable. Absolutely just miserable. It is you're just moving a cursor around on screen as though it was a mouse cursor.
Sounds easy enough.
You're doing this.
Yeah.
You're doing this with DualShock. It is not easy at all, Scott. It should be. But it's a very wide cursor. And the points of cover that you need to move your characters to are very small. And there's no fine movement really on the mouse that you're controlling. So you'll constantly be trying to zigzag back and forth to pick the one pixel that you want, which would be easy enough if you had a mouse, but it's not as easy on a DualShock 4. And it does this very bizarre thing where if you get near to the edge of the screen, like if you go over maybe 2/3 of where your TV screen is, the cursor will always just jump all the way to the side of the screen.
That sounds maddening.
It is utterly infuriating.
Can you use the motion sensor in the controller?
No. There's an option to... You can't even turn off subtitles. There are so few options in the menu.
Wow.
There's audio sliders.
I was about to say, I'm not normally a fan of XCOM games, so you're not exactly winning me over on this.
I am, and the flow of it's actually very interesting because it's more like campaign focused. You're moving the characters through the environment from fight to fight, which would be fine if you had direct control of your characters, but you're tapping them along. Imagine if Diablo 3 had the PC controls of tapping on the PS4 version. And that's how you move the characters around. Except with a hilariously short range of movement, and again, if you bring the cursor too close to the edge, it just zips around, and the camera is not doing the game any favors either. But the actual flow of it is interesting because they're just discrete levels that you're moving from combat counter to a combat counter, and you have like little narrative beats in between. And it's kind of a fun flow. And the universe actually, I think, is very interesting. It's like a big old space opera essentially, and you're going from planet to planet from a galactic map screen that looks an awful lot like BioWare's galactic map screen. And you even pick your companions from a menu that looks the same. It's obvious where the inspiration comes from. And I do like the dialogue choices you're making and stuff like that. And the characters each have their own way of doing things, which is cool. Like right now I have this kind of martial arts character, which is very interesting in this kind of game because it's all about cover and suppression and Overwatch for character movement. But her whole thing is getting there up close and personal. But she also has like magic powers, so she's like the Avatar from Airbender. If you ever watched that,
that was the thing that stood out to me in this trailer was when I think sci-fi games, whether or not it's a shooter or an XCOM style game like this is, I feel like I never see magic abilities. That felt like a good combination. I mean, Mass Effect, yes, I understand there's magic in Mass Effect. It's a series I've never gone through.
There's not magic in Mass Effect.
There's not magic. Okay, so
there's magic in the last 10 minutes of Mass Effect 3 that ruins the entire franchise.
That's right. You told me that. But I mean, this just looks like straight up magic abilities, like conjuring things out of the air and stuff. And seeing that mixed in with sci-fi is genuinely interesting to me.
Yeah, and she's a character that's the most interesting so far, and I like using her a lot because it is just so different for the genre, and for the setting. You're right. You don't usually see that, and it does have that. I used to say like the Mass Effect flow. If you go to a planet, it just tells a story for that planet, and then you get off, and you go elsewhere. That's really cool. It's just if the game controlled well, I actually think I would like it a lot. The loading times are maddening, and it stutters. The frame rate drops all the time, and I feel like I could even look past that if I could just control the darn thing. Like it is, I wish I could. I feel like I did a pretty good job of describing how maddening it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but imagining a combat encounter takes they're long combat encounters, 15-20 minutes probably, and you can only restart them from the very beginning, and that's just like par for the course of the genre. But imagine if you did that, and then at minute 13, because the freaking cursor jumped to the edge of the screen while you're clicking the accept button. Well, now you wasted your turn going out in the open, and you can't undo turns. So now you just wasted your turn, and you're just open for fire, and it's really you lose a lot of health very quickly because you're supposed to be in cover all the time. And now your character's dead, and it's not your fault, and you're infuriated.
Does this sound like something you could patch out? Or could be patched out in the future?
I would think so. It's already a weird choice that for the console port, you just put a mouse cursor on the screen, essentially.
Right.
Like that's very... I don't know why you came to that decision at all. But I think I would assume you could patch it out. I don't know if the game is big enough to afford the patch or whatever. Like it seems like a pretty low budget affair. But if they could make it play well, I think it would... Well, that's not. If they make it control well, I think it would be a game I like a lot.
Well, I mean, isn't that how XCOM played even on console? I mean, you were moving a cursor around.
Yes and no. It wasn't like it's pretty much just like a straight up mouse cursor. You were dragging your destination in XCOM,
right?
And it was much slower, and you could do a lot more fine, precise movements. And you just can't do that here.
Gotcha. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So as it stands with the controls, I don't think I could recommend it in good conscience. But it is, which is a shame. I'm really digging the story, the characters, the universe. I find very interesting. It does the thing that I love in sci-fi. The Star Wars thing of they just use the terms of everything
and don't explain
already.
What
like
they
no
are.
one explains what anything means.
Yeah, like in Way of Kings.
Yeah, that's a good example as well. Like it just felt very lived in, which was super cool to see from something such a smaller budget. That they were just like they just built a universe and this is a story within it, and I thought that was super cool. But I needed more time in the hopper, you could say, if I could use a overused expression.
Fair enough.
But hey, speaking of games that you shouldn't be playing, Bobbles for Friends on the Switch. Sky, you've been playing that one.
I have. I actually finished it today. Let me ask you a question. Do you like Bobble? Like the original one that we've all played and loved on Nintendo?
Very much so.
You very much so love that, Zach?
Yeah, it's pretty good time.
All right. Well, then I've got good news and I got bad news. The good news is that the original game is in here in its entirety. However, it is the arcade version, which the NES version was actually a port of the arcade version, but the games are nearly identical. They're just some different graphical deals. If you've played the PS1 version of Bobble, it is that version, which it plays perfect, great. It's awesome. There's like a little arcade cabinet in there that lets you go back and play with a friend, play through the entire game. The codes are all there. You know what? I don't know if the codes are all there, but it looks great, plays great, feels exactly like what Bubble Bobble should. But
okay, I'm not hearing a lot of Bubble Bobble for friends so far.
Well, I mean, you can play with a friend because it is it's a 2-player game. The original Bubble Bobble, one was Bub and one was Bob, so you can play that with Bubble Bobble for friend, I suppose. But the for friends aspect comes in the actual meat and potatoes of the game, which is a new adventure where you play as one of 4 different characters that are just basically a different color swap. And you and up to 4 friends can play this together. And unfortunately, I hate to just bag on a game, but I feel like what this game has done is not capitalize on the magic of what made Bubble Bobble so great. The fun of playing the original Bubble Bobble was how cleverly the levels were put together, and there wasn't like one clear direct path how to pass it. You kind of had to act on instinct, and there was the fun of what item is going to pop up on the screen that I'm going to use to make this easier or skip some levels or have some fun. And Bubble Bobble for Friends has it feels more like a platformer than a Bubble Bobble game, which I understand the original Bubble Bobble is really hard to say multiple times in 10 minutes, by the way.
Sure, yeah.
There seems to be like a clear direction that I have to figure out in each one, or it's more of a score grab game where, you know how like in the original you were trying to group all the enemies blown up as bubbles together in one spot so you could pop them all at the same time and get more points, which is awesome and it's really super satisfying. This one does that, but that is like the only thing you were doing in this game, it feels like. You are going around the room, trapping the enemies, and then letting them all float to one center of the room, because there's like these air currents all around the room that basically push the bubbles in different directions, and you have to figure out the right path to get them to all go to the same location. And then once you get there, there's always something that keeps them in there, even if they unpop, or even if they pop, rather. So then you just have to get all the enemies there, get to the new location, re-blow bubbles because they're all in the same spot, pop them as one, and then you get more points. So it feels more like a score grab game instead of I want to get through the levels to see what the next level has to offer and get to the end and beat the final boss. That was like the joy of the original, was just to see what was going to happen next and see how far you could get and see just the clever ways that they designed these levels. And this one just feels like, I mean, it has to be designed by a completely different team, I assume. The controls feel very floaty. The dinosaurs are just way bigger than the original ones were. The bubbles don't blow at the same time that they did on the original. It just feels off for some reason. And the big selling point is that you can play with 4 people at once. And I feel like that's what this game is going for, is put 4 people on a map together and then see who can get the most points. Because once you clear a level, fruit just randomly appears on the screen, and it just is a grab to see who can grab the most fruit after you've defeated all the enemies. And that's not why I played Bubble Bobble. You know what I mean? Like, after you beat Bubble Bobble and you wanted to get more longevity out of the game, you would go back and then maybe do a score grab with your one other friend. But I can't imagine playing this with a full group of 4 people, because you really need to coordinate what you're doing in order to get the high scores. And telling 4 people what to do at once just sounds like madness to me. I did not play it with 4 people, I will admit that, but it just didn't seem like it would be something very fun to me. So played through it. Oh, there are bosses, by the way, that are very, very simplistic. Just dodge and keep blowing bubbles at an enemy until he eventually turns into a giant bubble and you pop him. It gets a little more complicated than that, but overall, I felt really disappointed. I mean, if you like the original and you want to be able to play it on your Switch, consider it, but this thing costs $40.
Oof. Whoa.
And that seems
CP
really...
and I had the same reaction.
Yeah. That seems really steep to me for what I'm getting here. So...
Well, it's such a classic game and so simple, right? That putting the original in the same pack is just kind of like, well, I just kind of want to play that.
That's what I wanted to do. I've had to force myself to go through and actually play the main game when all I really wanted to do was go back and play more of the original. Like, I feel like this is now the third or fourth Bobble game we've gotten since the original. I feel like all we want is just take the exact same engine from the first one, just give us new levels, throw in a couple extra, bonus items to mix things up and just make some clever levels and use the exact same controls. That's what I want.
It's the Tetris thing. Just bring it to a new console, give it a slight spin,
little
but
polish.
Ultimately what you want is Bobble. You want Tetris, you want Luminous, you want the game that you like. You just want a new package kind of thing.
Exactly. I just want more of the same, and this felt like it was trying too hard to do something different. There's even, because you remember how in the original there was always like ways to shoot bubbles farther or faster, like with the little pieces of candy that you would collect.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they do that in here, but every time you beat one of the 5 worlds, you get like a suit that now you can use a certain number of times on each level. So you're collecting stuff that has permanent. It's permanent, but it's not permanent. You're now limited, and you use it whenever you want to. There was something that was super fun about the random nature of the original, where you never know what item is going to pop up here, and you couldn't wait to see which one was going to come. And that's just not here. So I will say, to its credit, some of the levels did start getting a little bit more interesting in the final world. I felt like it started to get its groove a little bit. Like, oh, I see what they're going for. But again, it felt like just a platformer, like working my way through a one-screen platformer stage instead of what was magical about the original. So I don't hate it. And if you want to get the original game on your Switch, I'd say go for it, but wait for a sale. $40 is way too much to spend on that game.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that is it's going to be a game that's going to be $20 by the end of the year.
I would be shocked if it isn't, if not more. So that is Bobble for Friends, and it is the number 4. All right, with that, we got 2 more quick reviews for you that we were pre-recorded. The first one comes from Nate, our producer, who played a game called Sky Racket. Not in flight. Sky Racket in flight. Anybody? No?
Afternoon delight.
No, it is called Sky Racket, and he's really excited to talk about that game. And also, I sat down with Spencer to talk about a game called Comanche that he's playing on PC. So we'll play this for you right now. Hey there, Nate. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm eager to hear about Sky Racket, which is from Double Dash Studios, and shout out to those guys for hooking you up with a copy to play. I forgot how much you love shmups, and you saw the trailer for this, and we're all over it. But this one looks a little bit different than your typical shmup. What is Sky Racket?
So you have the choice between 2 different characters, and you have enemies that obviously shoot at you as the shoot 'em up aspect. But the unique thing about this game is it also plays into kind of a like block breaking type game, almost like an alleyway mixed in.
Like Arkanoid?
Well, yeah. It's all in the same vein, but mixed up with a shooter. So there are some projectiles that you can hit back with this racket, hence the Sky Racket.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some that you can't. So it's a pretty good mix of knowing when to hit something and when to move out of the way. It's kind of cool.
That reminds me of, what's that shmup that's so hard where you've got the black and the white that you get to flip back and forth?
Oh, what is that one called? I don't remember what it's called.
It's the GameCube one. It's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But so you constantly have to... Now, are you actually having to physically swing a racket?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, so you have like it's like a little melee button where you just basically smash it with a racket. I don't remember if there's a charge move offhand. I can't remember now. No, I don't know. But there's at least a melee attack that you can actually, volley the projectile back toward the blocks that you're supposed to break. And these blocks aren't just like a solid piece either. They're like enemies. They're dynamic, so they each have different properties. So some you hit and they just disappear. Some you hit and they have like power-ups in them. Some you hit, they have other enemies waiting for you inside. So it's pretty cool how they mix that in.
Okay, that sounds really interesting, but also maddening. I have a problem with games where I have one or two options and going back and forth between the two. So, by the way, the GameCube game we were thinking of was Ikaruga.
That's it.
And that's why I am terrible at that game, because I can never remember if I'm supposed to be the same color as the bullets that I want to hit or not. But is it very clear as to which ones you can hit and which ones you can't?
Playing through a couple times. So the nice thing is it's broken down into individual levels. So if you encounter a level and you have an enemy, specifically like the first few levels, there are these enemies that are sandwich cats. They're just literally that, and they shoot these projectiles that you can't hit at you. So I mean, playing through for a few couple times, if you play through a couple times, you will notice which enemies you can't react to and which you can. So I mean, even if you don't get it the first time, there are like 5 like mini missions within the level to achieve stars. So it's like a completionist kind of objective. So
now, is the screen constantly scrolling so that you have to you're in a hurry to break those bricks to be able to traverse a level, or you always have that time crunch?
You do. So sometimes you have like blocks coming in from the top where you have to navigate around them, otherwise you're going to get smashed on the bottom of the level while it's moving horizontally. So the background is almost dynamic in the direction it's moving, but it's always a side-scrolling type game.
Interesting. So off air, you were telling me earlier this morning that you were just really digging this game. Why do you love it so much?
Well, it reminds me of Super Poppin' Twinbee, which I was a big fan of. And there's another one. It's got a dragon. I can't remember the name offhand, but it's very cutesy. The dynamic background is very enjoyable. The variety of different enemies, projectiles, and the level of difficulty. Not to mention, you can play with a second player, which it's great. I mean, this is a fantastic game.
Wow. And you haven't finished it yet, correct?
Nope. I think I'm about halfway through. I don't know how many levels there are, but I don't know how far I am. I'd guess about halfway.
So you recommend this to fans of shmups, I assume?
Oh yeah. It's fantastic.
All right. And we should expect a written review from you in the near future. But thanks so much for reviewing Racket. That sounds like something interesting for fans of the genre.
Yeah, check it out.
All right. Well, hey there, Spencer Cushing. How are you today, sir?
Not too bad. How about yourself, Scott?
I'm doing very well. You were here to talk to us about a game called Comanche. Actually, this is an early access game that you're playing for us. Shout out to Evolve PR for giving you a copy to that. This comes from a developer by the name of Nuclear, which is actually spelled with 2 Ks, which I thought was interesting.
Huh.
I have been very eager to talk to you about this game because I watched the trailer and I got some, oh man, what were those games called? Like Urban Strike and Jungle Strike. Remember those helicopter games from Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis?
All the way up to PlayStation 1, they had them as well.
Yeah, they did. Nuclear Strike?
Yeah, Nuclear Strike. I loved that game back then.
So please tell me that this is kind of like that, because that's really what I wanted out of this.
Totally different, to be honest with you. This game, you actually, I like the other games, you steer the Comanche helicopter. However, this one is like, the controls are completely different. You're actually in the cockpit flying the whole time instead of seeing, what do they call that? Outside of the
third-person view.
Third person. Thank you.
Isometric.
Yeah. This one, you're actually in the cockpit and you shoot and destroy and fly around, and it's pretty interesting.
It still sounds awesome though. I mean, is this more of a simulation or is this an arcade style helicopter shooter?
If I had to put my finger on it, I'd say more of a simulation style game.
Okay. So tell me about it. How does it play? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. So, and this obviously, like you said, it's early access. So there's only one mission out right now that you could play. And in the gameplay, without giving away too much, there is a UAV that goes missing, and you have to track it down with one of your counterparts.
You may have to tell people what a UAV is.
An unmanned aerial vehicle.
There you go.
All right. So one of them goes missing, and you got to go find it in this like archipelago, if I said that properly, which is a bunch of what's the word I'm looking for? Islands all put together.
There you go.
I was thinking of it. It was in my on top of my head somewhere. Anyways, like I said, it goes missing, and you got to find it. And there's multiple missions. You go and have to shoot down helicopters, shoot down ships, battleships, drones, and you actually get to fly a drone as well. That's part of your Comanche helicopter that goes into like smaller areas so that you can open up flood doors into a base, like a military base that's not yours.
Okay.
And you get missiles, you get smaller missiles, heat-sinking missiles, and 50 cal machine gun, pretty much. But the one thing I really enjoyed about it was the drone. I think more than the actual Comanche helicopter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because this one you fly around. It has less health than obviously the Comanche helicopter, but you get to go on these vents to get into smaller areas, and you can actually shoot people, bad guys that are shooting at you, or drones that are shooting at you.
That sounds interesting. It's got a little bit of a, I don't know, descent feel to it, like when you're going in through vents and exploring in 3D space?
Yes.
Okay. How long was that mission? I know you said it was only one in the early access demo. How long was it?
Give or take about 2 hours total, to be honest with you, because there's
cow.
Yeah, there's one full mission, and then there's smaller missions in there that you have to do, and each one is a checkpoint. And each one is long. I could say probably about a half hour each on those little sub missions.
Wow, this sounds like a lot more in depth than what I was expecting, or even from those old 16-bit era games. How does it control? How does it feel to pilot this Comanche as well as the drone?
This is where it gets a little tough. If you have not played any flight simulator type games, the controls are going to be totally different to you.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually play keyboard controls, or I think they also have partial controller controls as well. So I think I attached my Xbox controller to the PC to try playing as well. And I can tell you right now, I went right back to the keyboard. It was so tough.
Wow.
But if you get messed up in there is a button that you can click to actually go into hover mode to fix your altitude and stop you from flying forward. And it feels a lot like you're actually flying a helicopter, which I can tell you I've never done myself. But from what I've seen and what I've heard from others that have done this, you know how you have to put the nose down a little bit to fly forward? That's exactly the same. If you put it down too far, then you go way too fast, and then you go straight into the rocks, or you go right into the ocean.
So it's got a bit of a learning curve. It's not going to be your normal arcadey style movement.
Correct. But the good thing about that is they have single, or what's the word I'm looking for? They have training. That's what I was looking for.
There you go. So do you recommend Comanche for everybody to check out?
I do. Heck yeah. It's a fun game.
And you are playing it on PC, correct?
That is correct.
But I believe it was also available on some other platforms, yes?
I do believe so, yeah.
I'll have to double check that. But Spencer, thanks for checking out Comanche for us. I'm bummed only because it's not what I wanted. It's not Urban Strike and all that, but I'm still glad that you're enjoying it, and I hopefully it comes to console as well too. I'm gonna have to look that up and double check, but it's on Steam. You can play it there for sure. So
yeah,
thanks for stopping by, man.
Of course, no problem.
Oh, and give a shout out to your podcast as well.
Oh, yeah. So I run a beer podcast called Screw City Hopheads. We actually just came out with episode 7, and that was actually with you, Scott, and your buddy, Jeff.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for having me. So if you like beer, be sure to check that out. It is episode 7, I believe. I think called the Beer Nerds.
Yep, that's correct.
So stop by and check it out. Well, Spence, thanks for stopping by, man. You have a good one, all right?
All right, you too. Thanks, Scott.
All right, the only other thing that's on all of our lists, all three of us, yes, beat Ori and the Will of the Wisps this week. Is that correct?
I would hope so. I wrote a review.
That's true. I don't want to go into spoiler territory. Maybe we should. I know CB was talking about a spoiler cast, but man, I love the ending of this game. Just through and through.
Really good.
It was beautiful.
Very beautiful.
I agree. as I said in my review in general, I was kind of surprised the number of bold decisions the game story makes. For such a simple premise, it's very much just, the princess is in another castle kind of story.
Right.
But they do surprising things with the characters and a few of the narrative decisions, and props to them.
Yeah, I really felt that they're going to go in one direction, and I was glad they didn't.
Yes, there's an obvious path for them to take, which like used to be the subversion path, but I don't know, but now it's like kind of become played out.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked around that in an interesting way. Yeah, so I mean, you come for the incredible level design, absolutely incredible level design, wonderful progression system of the new abilities come at such a good clip, then you'll have a good story at the end of it.
I agree. CB, how close did you come to throwing your controller against a wall?
Really close.
Yeah?
Because I'm at 99.99% complete.
Man, so close yet so far away.
Because of a bug on one quest prevents me from 100%ing the game.
That stinks.
So,
I was actually referring to the worm chase sequence.
Oh my god, I hated it. Hated it so much.
Is that what we were digging through the sand? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I spent the most on that one for sure.
With the graboid from Tremors.
Yeah.
I somehow did not remember the first game had these chase sequences.
Oh, that was a big part of it.
For me. Yeah, it's kind of for me they did, but man, those things are they're like platforming boss battles.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They're super great. Yeah.
I really enjoyed.
Maybe I gotta replay the first one sometime.
I really enjoyed the final fight, though.
Oh, what a gorgeous boss battle. I didn't like it as much as the spider boss battle, which was just a blast to play and watch. But that final one, it just felt epic.
Yeah.
Right. That was the thing of the boss battles is I thought that, like the play was fine, but they were gorgeous to watch.
They really were.
Absolutely stunning. So yeah, you're right, that final boss battle especially.
And I love the design of that final boss too, just the design of the character itself.
Yes.
I thought it looked really cool.
Well, I mean,
agreed, man.
Everything about this game looks so good, and the music was so well paired with it.
There were hints to the original theme from the first game, because I listened to the original soundtrack quite a bit, like when I'm trying to get work done or whatever. So I've got had it in my head for the past few weeks anyway, and it's got its own flavor too, but it keeps going back to that original theme every once in a while, especially towards the end. And what a beautiful game.
Can you believe it's been 5 years since the first game?
That's insane.
Wow.
Does not seem like 5 years ago.
It shows, man. Like the level of craft in this game.
Yeah.
Is exquisite.
I will give them credit. This is now officially the 4th game ever to make me shed a tear.
Oh.
Wow. Getting soft in your old age, CB.
I know. So
I know one of them was Spider-Man, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I cried.
Yeah.
I cried like a little girl.
He lost his hard heart when he shaved off his beard. I went with it.
Yep. That was my iron curtain.
So Ori and the Will of the...
He said stop bringing it up.
What's that?
He said to stop bringing up the beard, man.
I know. I just couldn't help it.
Now you're just being mean.
So give it.
I love to get under
CB
CB's skin. It's too much
Give
fun.
it a little longer. Hey, you know what?
If only he had some hair he could twist.
Yeah, I know. I'm still doing it. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.